Jamie had been the past world champion. Tonight we crown a new world champion. Jamie Head was a great world champion, and he probably, you know, he's the best in the world. You had Brad DeLosa, the one the year before, and I won in 2019. But this year we crown a new world champion, and I expect maybe an Australian might do that.
What are your thoughts on that, Bradley?
Yeah, as Braden said, you know, I've been lucky enough to win 2 world championships, so 2013 and 2022. So it was quite a long time between drinks, but yeah, great to get another title under the belt. But no, I think, you know, tonight's going to be a very, very close competition. You know, like we've got Kody Steers representative, great young competitor. He's sort of been thrown into the deep end probably a little bit here because most of the guys have been in the team, you know, so they've experienced what it's like, the atmosphere out there on the stage, and, you know, learnt what it's all about. So it's Cody's first time in the team, and he's also the individual competitor, so he's sort of straight out there amongst it. But no, he's proved himself on many occasions in the big chops in Australia, and he's, you know, got a really cool, calm head, which you need out there. You know, there's a lot of pressure on you, and it's quite easy to make a mistake, which is hard to fix, you know, when you're in a strong field on the world stage. So yeah, I think, you know, Kody Steers, I think, you know, Nate Hodges from the USA, Jack Jordan, you know, great competitor, and then you got Ben Cumberland. You know, it's such a strong field out there. I think it's going to be a very close race, and once again, it'll all come down to the hot saw.
Yeah, so I mean, Brad, you won, I believe, in 2013, correct? And then again in 2022, is that correct? So being a 2-time world champion, and I believe you've competed in it a couple other years with podium finishes as well, how much of like Kody Steers is going into this, it's his first time on this stage over here, either as a team or as the individual, and as you know, it's a much different atmosphere. The lights are very bright once you're up there on stage. It's much different than anything that he's typically done in Australia before. So do you, as an athlete, do you find that it would be a benefit for you, it being like your second or third time doing it? Do you feel that it might be a disadvantage for Kody, it being his first time up on stage?
Look, I think it's obviously a benefit if you've had the experience of being up there before. You see what it's all about, and you know what you're up for. But in saying that, you know, Kody has had a lot of competitions on the big stage. He's, you know, won some big championships throughout Australia where there's a lot of pressure on you as well. So yeah, pressure is a big thing, but I'm sure he'll step up, and he's seen what it's all about last night. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what sort of performance he puts up out there.
No, absolutely. I mean, so you've always got your perennial favorites from each powerhouse country, as well as the Europeans are coming on strong. We've got the top 12 timber sports athletes in the world right now. And this, for the first time, there is not one single athlete in the field that has won this world championship before. So it will be somebody's first time being crowned as a world champion.
Stand to your timber.
Maybe we go around here, and if you guys had to pick your podium finish, yeah, make the rookie go first, eh? Stitch him up. So if you had to pick your podium finish, just based off your gut feeling right now, like, what would you say?
I'd have to say Kody Steers for the win, and and then probably think about probably Jack Jordan, and then Nate Hodges. That's my pick. So.
What about the best European? That would also be an interesting one for us.
Yeah, I think over the years the Europeans have got a lot stronger. Every year and year we can come back here and they get quicker and quicker, but I think Kody Steers should win it, Nate Hodges and Ferry Svan for third.
Thanks very much. We need short answers now, guys, because we have to head back to the TV studio because the individual championship is about to start. But of course, we want to hear your answers.
I was hoping I'd brush this question because it's quite a hard one. I was quite happy to put the mic down. But no, look, I think in no particular order, you know, I think Kody will be up there. I think Nate Hodges and also, yeah, Michael DeBicki.
Oh, good dark horse. You got a take on this, Argent?
Yeah, Kody for the win. I was going to say DeBicki in second and Jack Jordan in third.
I think we see some trends developing at the top of the podium there. What do you say? But, you know, I think that might be just about it from Team Australia here. We'd like the crowd to give one more big applause to your 2024 Team World Champions, 5 times in a row. 9 times overall, the Australian dynasty of timber sports. Team Australia, thanks a lot for you guys coming and joining us on stage here. Really appreciate it. Back to you there, Floaty.
Everything and anything is possible. Sterling and me are gonna rush to the TV studio. I advise everyone else to do the same because the STIHL Timbersports Individual World Championships 2024 are about to begin.
Well, there you saw it, the Australian team 2 times or 5 times in a row, Team World Championships. It was the same setup this year as last year. Australia, USA, Canada, New Zealand in the small final and final. And, I mean, the guys from Australia, undefeated so far. What's it going to take to get these guys out of that chair and let somebody else sit and have the accolades for a while? Who knows? Time will tell. Meanwhile, time is coming up for the individual world championship here in 2024. Here in studio, we're just waiting on Floaty and Sterling to come and join me, and we're going to get over to the main stage shortly and let them get ripping with the individual world championship. Now, as you heard from our pre-show there, Floaty alluded to the fact that there is not a single world champion in the mix here today, so it is wide open for a brand new world champion in the individual world championship here. And that also means that there are 3 guys who have never actually set foot at an individual world championship event, and that is Nate Hodges, his first time here, Kody Steers, who the Australian boys talked about, and also Alex Maurice from France, who the fans here are going to go bananas about. He's going to have his first go at a world championship title here. The list is strong this year for 2024 in the individual category. 6 disciplines over 3 rounds, culminating in the hot saw with these monster saws that we have at the end of the day. And as you heard from our guys on stage there in the 85 VIP area, it is going to come down to the hot saw today, as it almost always does. My opinion is it very often is made in the tree or the springboard. We'll see how it goes for the day. In the meantime, I can hear in the background the action is starting to hot up a bit on the stage. The audience, it is a full house. We are completely and utterly sold out here in the Zenith Arena here in Toulouse, and it is going to be a fantastic evening. And what a way to get the vibe up and the action hot and heavy for our 2024 STIHL Timbersports Individual World Championship, with 12 of the best from around the world competing here today to see who will be the new world champion. There's not going to be a repeat here. It is going to be the first time ever for one of these 12 athletes that are on stage today in this event. So it is going to be a lot of fun to see how this one boils down and heats up. And I can hear them in the background there, and I can see on the pictures, and you can maybe even see behind me on the video screen, they are already excited in the arena. And I think maybe we could even send it over to the arena and see what Yuan and the gang in the main stadium have to say. Let's head over there and see what the vibe is feeling like as we wait for Floaty and Sterling to join me here in studio.
Il va falloir donner tout ce que vous avez ce soir, mesdames et messieurs, pour tenter de pousser votre athlète français. Vous connaissez son nom ou pas? Alors à 3, vous me citez juste son prénom. 1, 2, 3. Son nom de famille. 1, 2, 3. Alexandre Maurice. Qu'est-ce que vous chantez là, les gars? Allez, l'hymne français, la Marseillaise ensemble. Aux armes, aux armes. Vous êtes excellents, mesdames et messieurs, vous êtes excellents, magnifique, superbe, sensationnel. Ce zénith de Toulouse Métropole avec tous ces drapeaux bleus, blancs, rouges, sensationnel. Bravo à toutes et à tous. J'ai entendu dire dans mon oreillette que dans quelques instants, on devrait ne pas trop tarder à commencer. C'est pas encore le cas, hein, on a encore quelques instants. Rappelez-vous, tiens, on va vous donner un petit tips. Imaginez qu'Alexandre, mesdames et messieurs, soit en train de taper avec sa hache. On fera un truc ensemble, toutes et tous ensemble. À chaque fois qu'il va taper dans la bille, il faudra dire bleu. Et après, vous direz blanc. Et ensuite, vous direz rouge. Et ça fera bleu, blanc, rouge, bleu, blanc, rouge, ainsi de suite. Ce sera tout à l'heure. On aura vraiment besoin de vous. Il faudra être fort, il faudra être bruyant. C'est dans quelques instants. Est-ce que Toulouse est prêt? Toulouse, are you ready? J'ai pas compris. Toulouse, are you ready? Wow. Ah, apparemment on a un petit problème de lumière. Vous avez cassé la lumière, mesdames et messieurs, vous avez cassé l'électricité. Alors celles et ceux qui étaient hier, vous connaissez le principe, et je crois qu'on a encore une fois un problème de batterie. On va vérifier ça. We have some problem with the accumulator. On a juste une petite barre vert. Just one green light. But. J'ai une autre batterie, ouais. C'est ça qui est bien avec STIHL, c'est qu'on a d'autres batteries possibles ici. Et là, a priori, on a les quatre lumières vertes. Mesdames et messieurs, on va faire un compte à rebours de 10 à 0. Ladies and gentlemen, with me from 10 to 0 for the countdown. Attention. Tous ensemble, 10. Plus fort. Encore.
Welcome back to the STIHL TIMBERSPORTS.
Allez, dans quelques instants, mesdames et messieurs, on vous le dit.
I'm not sure if you can hear me, because I can't hear myself, but can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, that's great, that's great. Welcome, Sterling.
Good start.
Welcome, Troy Mannering, the man they brought this axe in here for, because they say his analysis are as sharp as this blade.
Oh.
Nice to have you here, guys.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. And we're ready to go.
We are ready to go. It's going to be a fun day.
STIHL TIMBERSPORTS World Championships 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you are as ready as we are, because we can't wait to show you what's going to be happening tonight. What are we about to expect, guys?
Well, I think we're going to expect action. As you alluded to in the pre-show, there's not one single world champion, individual world champion in the mix here tonight. 12 athletes from around the world, including 3 athletes that have never competed in the world championships before. That's Kody Steers, Nate Hodges, and our local hero, Alex Maurice. So that's going to be super interesting to see how they pan out tonight.
Yes, and of course, it's not only Sterling, it's not only Troy, it's not only Flody, but we have Johan, who's our field reporter, waiting on stage right now to say hello to everybody from Toulouse. Johan, over to you.
Quelques secondes, quelques minutes d'attente.
Yes.
N'hésitez pas à continuer à chanter là-bas. Vous avez l'air d'être hyper en forme derrière là. N'hésitez pas à lancer. Hein. Si ça dort de l'autre côté. Tiens, on va faire un petit concours. À 3, c'est vous qui faites du bruit. Ok? Les Suisses aussi, vous vous y mettez ensemble. Hein. D'accord? Ok, les Allemands là-bas aussi. 1, 2, 3. I'm watching you. Ladies and gentlemen, you have to be really energetic, okay? You have to be funny, you have to be louder, okay? On le refait à 3. 1, 2, 3! C'est pas mal, c'est pas mal. Et attention, en face. 1, 2, 3. C'est pas mal. Franchement, c'est pas mal, c'est pas mal. On va vous laisser une deuxième chance parce que je crois que vous êtes quand même au-dessus. Attention. 1, 2, 3. Ça tape des pieds en plus. C'est à vous en face. 1, 2, 3. On fait la répétition. Vous vous rappelez, je vous ai dit le bleu, blanc, rouge. Imaginez que je m'appelle Alexandre Maurice, ce qui n'est pas du tout le cas. Parce que moi, quand je tronçonne, ça met vraiment trop longtemps. Enfin bref, imaginez que j'ai une hache dans les mains et que je vais taper le bio, mesdames et messieurs. Attention. Ok, vous avez compris le principe, c'est très bien, il faudra faire exactement ça tout à l'heure. Vous l'avez compris, on a un petit peu de retard, mais ça va démarrer. Comme vous êtes partout en live sur la planète, il faut qu'on arrive à se coordonner avec l'ensemble. Ça, c'est pas mal aussi, hein. One more time, ladies and gentlemen, welcome everybody in this beautiful city of Toulouse for this STIHL TIMBERSPORTS Individual World Championships 2024. On espère bien sûr encore une fois que vous êtes en forme. STIHL TIMBERSPORTS Individual World Championships here will begin in few seconds with the best athlete in the world for timbersport. Soyez prêts, be ready, ladies and gentlemen. We need you, we need your energy, we need your voice. We need all of you tonight to have the best atmosphere in the world. Okay. And before we meet our heroes, let's introduce our terrific and smiley global sport directors. to welcome Spike Milton from Great Britain. Merci d'applaudir, mesdames et messieurs, les sports directeurs, mesdames et messieurs, Spike Milton de Grande-Bretagne. Il est accompagné par Nathan Waterfield from USA. Il est avec Nathan Waterfield des États-Unis d'Amérique. Merci également d'accueillir. Please also welcome on stage our judges for tonight. Andrew Hall from Great Britain, de Grande-Bretagne. And Radu Kasaku from Romania, de Roumanie. Ils seront assistés par nos juges vidéo. They will be assisted by video judges in the competition control center. Victor Klarmo from Sweden. Hello, Victor. And Schul Janssen from the Netherlands. Et à présent, mesdames et messieurs, il est temps d'accueillir et d'applaudir nos héros de cette soirée. Now it's time to meet our heroes for this STIHL TIMBERSPORTS Individual World Championships 2024. Et à présent, le premier à se présenter, mesdames et messieurs, il vient tout le droit d'Australie. Coming from Australia, Team World Champion yesterday. Il est également champion aux États-Unis en 2024. Kody Toulouse. Coming from Austria, venant tout droit d'Autriche, mesdames et messieurs, 10 times national winner, Armin Kody. Coming from Belgium, venant tout droit de Belgique, silver medalist at European Pro Championship 2020. Il est également 7 fois champion de Belgique, Kurt Martens. Il vient lui du Canada, coming from Canada, champion du Canada en 2023-2024, rookie world champion in 2016. He is the captain, Ben Cumberland. Venant tout droit des Pays-Bas, coming from the Netherlands, 3 times national winner, Redmer Noor. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Coming from Germany, I'm so sorry, Denny. Denny Martina. And now it's a good guy. Coming from the Netherlands, venant tout droit des Pays-Bas, 3 fois champion des Pays-Bas, mesdames et messieurs, Redmer Noor. He is three-time national winner, three-time winner World Trophy, team world champion in 2017. He's coming from New Zealand, de Nouvelle-Zélande, Jack Jordan! Silver medalist at World Trophy 2023, winner of the European Pro Championship in 2020. Il est également 5 fois champion de Pologne. Coming from Poland, Michał Trubisky! And now, he's the boss. 12 times national winner, silver world championship in 2011 and 2015. Coming from Switzerland, the Swiss, Christoph Geisler! And now, three-time national champion, rookie world champion in 2017. Il vient tout droit de Suède, coming from Sweden, Ferry Svan! He won the silver medal yesterday for the Team World Championship. He is also the national winner in 2024. Coming from USA, des États-Unis d'Amérique, Nate Hodges! Et à présent, mesdames et messieurs, regardez bien les écrans géants parce que l'athlète qui va arriver dans quelques instants, vous le connaissez, mais on vous le présente de suite. Let's have a look on the giant screens.
World Championships coming up in your home country. If you want to beat Pierre Puberé, you want to do it in 2024.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the time to do it.
J like the letter, I'm making several waves. I know the mission is same. I made a splash, now all of my passes last like running a race with Usain. I keep it coming.
To be French champion and to be in the stage in my country, it's I think the best.
Alexander Maurice is your French champion, and he will represent France in Toulouse.
Avec l'équipe de France hier soir, avec son équipe, mesdames et messieurs. Merci de vous mettre debout, Toulousaine, debout, Toulousain, debout le Zénith pour Alexandre Maurice. Et on va le faire ensemble, mesdames et messieurs. Vous allez scander son nom ensemble, ensemble pour lui. Rappelez-vous, ça fait Maurice. Et moi, je fais Alexandre! 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 Et à présent, mesdames et messieurs, nous allons bien sûr vous inviter à bien vouloir rester debout ou à vous remettre debout si vous le pouvez, afin de respecter l'hymne national de la France qui accueille ces championnats du monde. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand up for the national anthem of the host team of France, played by Pandas Cover Gang. Vous pouvez bien sûr applaudir l'ensemble des athlètes qui descendent de la scène, mesdames et messieurs, please. Have a huge round of applause for all of
Wow. How about that for an atmosphere? Everything is set and ready to go for a night full of excitement. So let's take a closer look at the competition format.
The STIHL Timbersports individual competition. In the first round, all athletes compete in 3 disciplines: the underhand chop, the stock saw, and the standing block chop. The times achieved will be converted into points upon completion of each discipline. In round 1, a difference of 1 point applies in each discipline, thus the fastest athlete receives 12 points and the slowest only 1 point. Any rule infraction will result in a disqualification, and the athlete will receive 0 points for that discipline. At the end of the first round, the athletes with the lowest scores are eliminated. Only 8 athletes make it to the second round. In this second round, the remaining athletes compete in the single buck and the springboard for increased scores. With 2 points difference between placings, the fastest athlete now receives 16 points and the slowest receives 2. The 2 athletes with the lowest total points are eliminated at the end of round 2. Only the top 6 reach the third round. In the third round, anything is still possible in the hot saw, as an increased score interval of 3 points applies in this final round. The fastest athlete can score up to 18 points at the hot saw, the slowest only 3 points. The athlete who manages to achieve the highest total score across all 3 rounds is the new champion.
So now that we know how this works, let's talk about the tool and the first discipline, guys.
It's the axe.
Oh, great.
That's this thing here.
So let's find out more about this axe then.
The axes used in timber sports definitely can't be bought at your local hardware store. Made from special steel, the blade is hand-sanded with an angle of 13 to 16 degrees. It's custom built and carefully adjusted for each competition. The weight is around 3 kilos and it's about 80 centimeters long. The blade is so sharp that you could shave with it. Underhand chop. In the past, the underhand chop technique was used to split logs. Standing on a horizontally anchored block, the athletes cut through a 32-centimeter log. The block has to be worked from both sides.
Boy, have we got some heats coming up. Christoph Geisler taking on Alexandre Meurice in the very first heat. So it's Switzerland against France. Michael Dubitsky taking on Kuhn Martins in heat number 3. Armin Kugel against Danny Martin. Austria versus Germany. Redmer Knoll against Jack Jordan in heat number 4. Heat number 5 consisting of Ferry, Svan and Nathan Hodges. And of course in heat number 6, Ben Cumberland taking on Kody Stiers. Let's get this baby rolling. Rock and roll.
Yeah, man. Underhand chop coming your way. The first of 6 disciplines, and the first discipline in round 1 here for us this evening. Christoph Geisler, the oldest competitor in the field at 50 years young. Unbelievable that he is still going at it and still relevant. That's fantastic. And Alex Meurice, it's his first time competing in the individual world championship, so he's going to be highly motivated by the audience here, wouldn't you say, Sterling?
You know, absolutely. Having your hometown crowd behind you on that stage, like, this is a moment he'll remember for his entire life. You know, the adrenaline you'll feed off that, and you'll hear this crowd erupt as soon as that man enters the stage.
Oh, and look at the crowd go. They are loving it. And we haven't even started.
Yeah, that first driver, they're going to be counting every step of the way here. Here we go. All right, immediately getting into the block, and you can see Alexander Maurice has immediate pace. He's moving that axe as quickly as possible. And Christoph Geisler, I think he might have paid attention to that, and he started to get the axe going quickly as well. Alex over to the other side, about one stroke ahead of Christoph Geisler. As we take a look at them going through this on the full screen, who's going to be through it first? It's going to be a great run there by Alex Maurice, but not far behind was Christoph Geisler, and Alex Maurice gets himself a time of 20.60 unofficially, and that will be a personal best for him, and he is performing absolutely to the standards that he wants. And for this audience, they're excited right away out of the blocks. It's feeling good for everybody.
What a great way to start the competition.
Yeah, you know, like having that hometown crowd behind you and him coming out of the gates like that, what an advantage right away.
Too good.
Love it.
Yeah, as we take a look back here now with the replay, Alexander Maurice put in just an absolute clinical cut. We saw him yesterday in the Team World Championship, cutting the underhand for his team. And, you know, having those extra 2-3 blocks, huge advantage coming in. First event, hometown crowd. He did all his homework on the front, went around, and he came off just a couple of hits ahead of Christoph Geisler. And, you know, coming out of the gates like that, hopefully he can just ride that momentum through and, you know, hopefully push through into that second round.
Not a lot of salad on that first side. As you said, he did his homework over there and came through to the other side, really did a good job. So for Alex Maurice, that's a good start for him, and that's going to be those first initial butterflies out of his gut, and he can just focus on the rest of the way now.
Absolutely.
We should also point out, this is not elimination action like we saw yesterday during the Team World Championships. This is now all about getting the fastest time possible. So these guys will definitely be pushing each other on stage, but they're about trying to get the quickest time possible as we go to our next heat in the underhand shop. Mikael Dubitsky going up against Koen Martens. Couple of real vets here. Mikael Dubitsky looking svelte and pretty good with that beard. I didn't recognize him yesterday when the Polish team came up. I was like, who's this dude?
True, but they don't call him the axe machine for nothing. When you watch Michael Dubitsky and the RPM that he puts into this, he is the definition of a machine.
I think we should call that DPM now, drivers per minute, or DPS, drivers per second. It's unbelievable.
Okay, gentlemen, athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, right away, both of these guys. Again, I'm loving the pace that I'm seeing from all the athletes that are up on stage so far. Oh, and a hop over to the other side by Koen Martens, who is well aware that he has the axe monster on the other side of the stage from him. Koen Martens looking good, but I think Michael Dubitsky might get through the... Oh, my God! How close was that? And a fantastic personal best for Koen Martens. Those blocks separated almost exactly at the same time. How close is this? Oh, my goodness.
We haven't seen a heat that close, and the unofficial times coming up in front of us, I don't think fully reflect how close that heat just was, you know?
Nope.
You had the axe machine there, and Michael Dubitsky taking on the absolute technician of Koen Martens.
17.56 to 17.82. I mean...
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
The Koen is loving it.
I've never seen him not smiling after a heat.
True.
It's crazy.
Oh, and a personal best for Koen Martens. He knew he cut that as well as he possibly could. You know, there was a few hits that I did see there. He didn't quite reach the bottom as much as he would have liked. You know, when we're chopping these underhands, we're trying to spread that axe as efficiently as we possibly can. And Koen Martens, when he actually made his turn to the backside, he might have done it just, he rushed it a little bit. And you actually see him, he gave a bit of a mishit, and he hit right in the middle of his block. So he had to go back. And he had to re-hit his first hit on the second side. And, you know, by the time you get to this World Championship level, that one hit was the difference between first and second place right now. So we'll see if that comes back to bite him later on here.
Now, so far, the action's been really excellent for our starting hits on these blocks in the first two heats. Mika Dubitsky, as expected, right out in front. He's an absolute monster when it comes to the underhand chop. So great job, and Koen Martin's super happy with that personal best. We'd love to see those drop.
Germany versus Austria.
Well, this has been a battle we've seen many, many times in the past, and there's no love lost between the two nations when it comes to spoken language. And
very true.
On stage, there's no love lost when it comes to battling for supremacy in timber sports. Although you know these guys are shaking hands and patting each other on the back behind the stage and helping each other out. When it comes to the competition, though, it's all business.
And look at the personal bests, how close they are together.
Yeah, I mean, Danny Martin, he's been working hard. He's the guy that really tries to push Germany to the next level. He wants to be atop that podium, so
Athletes,
he's got a lot of expectations for himself.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Ooh, a bit of a sticky one there for that first driver for Danny Martin. Armin Kugler, always consistent. I mean, he is just such a good timber sports athlete. And you would never believe it to look at the man, but he is a cat. It's unbelievable. And he is very accurate with those drivers. Danny Martin looking good here, though, as he might get through that block. And another incredibly close hit. Oh, my God. 1903 to 1949 between these two gentlemen from a border apart from each other. And they are just milliseconds apart from each other on the underhand. Oh boy, what a way to start this competition with 4 personal bests out the window right off the bat.
You know, and that's a credit, seeing these tight heats like that, that's a credit to our wood crew as well. All this wood has been actually been locally sourced from here in France, and everything is matched.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
Half the dozen, 4 personal bests. I mean, that's how you started to STIHL Timbersports World Championship 2024. And look at the crowd, they're loving it.
Yeah, and you know that Danny Martin and Armin Kugler are both going to be pleased with the personal best. That's always a goal, but you know, you're looking at Danny Martin. He's in 4th place right now with some pretty strong choppers going to come up shortly, so hopefully he can hold on to that.
Yeah, absolutely. And Danny Martin, he took a bit of pace off, and he went for more of a hard-hitting approach in this one, really putting the power to each hit. I don't know if it necessarily paid off, but what it did is it ensured him a secure cut. You know, he's sitting in 4th place right now, but potentially if he had tried to pick up the pace on that, he might have had a miss hit. You know, I think he cut within himself, we call it. You cut to your potential, and I think that's going to be the points he needs going forward.
But Sterling, if we just imagine that's the bronze medalist from last year, he cuts a personal best and is in 4th position after 6 athletes. How good is the standard we're getting to see this year?
The standard is amazing, and Heat 4, I think, is about to show us just what this stage has to offer this weekend.
I mean, Jack Jordan has been absolutely devastating on the underhand chop. You pointed it out the other day that he was doing 12 hits on the block, 6 on each side. That's incredible. Redmer Knoll had an excellent trophy in, help me out here, Floaty, in Rotterdam last year, and that really was thank you very much. Floaty has a deeper voice now, and that really pushed him forward, and he's super motivated, so I'm curious to see how he does training in Australia for about 6 months.
Athletes, ready! Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
So watch the pace that Jordan cuts with here. It's absolutely incredible. Hey, but look at Redmer Knoll. He's right there with them, almost on par. As going over to the other side, he's 2 strokes behind Jack Jordan. Jack Jordan chipping out really nicely. And he's through in a personal best, 13.77. And Redmer Knoll has a fantastic time, also a personal best, 18.14. And that puts him in 4th place right now. Jack Jordan leading in the points at the moment with 12 in the top spot and the time to beat with 13.77. It's incredible. He just keeps getting faster and faster and faster.
Unbelievable, unbelievable.
Somebody got to check those axes for heats and motors.
And the energy of this French crowd is definitely translating through the walls into our studio here. It's lighting Troy up.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
Wow, great cuts. An official 13.48 from Jack Jordan. Not even breaking a sweat. Jack Jordan, he is the underhand cutter for Team New Zealand and has been since the age of 17. And he showed why he is one of the best in the world at this event. You know, he put only 8 in the front, and I believe he only put 6 hits in the back.
But certainly, I felt he didn't start as well as he did yesterday in the team competition.
No, not at all. But, you know, what I've seen so far out of all these heats is nobody picking up the pace. You know, we've seen athletes in the past, even Michael Dubitsky, not having the same pace they normally would, and everybody going for applying the power to these hits and not the speed. But, you know, you can't really argue with the results of a 13.48 as we see just the absolute beautiful mechanics from Jack Jordan.
But there's also a certain amount that you have to think about with the pace. Sometimes you're giving up on the accuracy. And you mentioned quite often the accuracy is also very fast, because if you're accurate, you're smooth, you're cutting in the same line, and you're not cutting new wood, and that makes you faster. So, you know, it's a bit of a gamble there, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, you know. And Jack Jordan, that was just business as usual. That was just another Tuesday for this man.
Yeah, and another personal best. Why not?
Yeah, why not?
I think he held his breath through the whole thing.
I certainly did.
Well, it only took him 13.5 seconds.
Yeah. So I mentioned in previous heats that they've been going for power, not speed. I think that's about to change with these next two athletes.
Yeah. I mean, we've noticed Ferry Svan. I mean, he is a former rookie world champion, and he has picked up the pace on his drivers in the last years. So we're seeing him really quick with the axe. Nate Hodges, well, I mean, that guy's a power packet all on his own. You know, just looking at his arms alone, you know, he's got the power to make this work. So let's see if the pace keeps up with him as well.
And if you're watching this at home, don't think your screen has been sped up. These guys, they have motors and they're about to unleash them.
Athletes ready! Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Wow, look at the pace of Ferry Svan.
Wow, 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 wow.
Holy smokes, Hodges isn't even standing up. He's just shooting from the hip on this one. He might get through there really quickly. Ferry Svan, Nate Hodges, and it's going to be Nate Hodges and Ferry Svan. Another close one between these two guys. Nate Hodges moving up into second place with an unofficial time of 15:08 and a personal best. Ferry Svan with a 15:84, also a personal best. Holy smokes, folks. The only guy who hasn't had a PB today is Michael Dubitsky, and he wasn't as fast as he has been in the past. Unbelievable action.
You know, but looking at the expression on Nate's face, we'll go over a little bit of review after this on his underhand chop there.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
So an official 15:09 for Nate Hodges and a 15:51, good enough for second and third place. Now, what I was talking about, you didn't see the emotion from Nate. On the front side of his block, what I did notice is I think he lost his balance a little bit. Nate technically is typically he is like an RPM cutter. You see him, he's one of the only athletes in the world that does what we call clubbing. You see how he does not slide his hand. In theory, that is quicker, but you can see he's not balanced. I think he was just not quite having it there. And then on the backside, I think he missed that hit there and his second and third hit. I think he might have missed them a little bit, and he didn't open quite as much wood as he would have liked. So it took him 3 drivers to get that off, when I think he was only counting on 1 or 2.
And that's scary considering he's got a fast time.
Right, but it's all or nothing right now, and it's still good for second place. But you know, it can affect the flow for you if you come out and you don't cut. See that extra? See how it sat there?
Yep.
You know, and he knew. He knew
his
that
face
he didn't
says
quite
it all.
have it.
His face says it all.
Exactly, and you know, and that's where we see the difference between an Alexander Maurice coming out and having that feeling of you cut that blinding time you knew you were capable of, whereas Nate Hodges, he knew that he was capable of a 12 or a 13-second cut, and he comes out with a 15.
And having seen Ferry Svan, of course, the #1 European woodchopper at the moment, we have something very special for you.
Yes.
A documentary. Take a look at this.
Det är som en gladiator. Det är jäkligt häftigt. Ferry älskar ju att tävla. Han har ju varit tävlingsmänniska sedan han var 3 år typ.
Hur mycket vill du vinna det här?
Jag heter Ferry Svan och jag är en timbersportatlet.
So that's something that's maybe even inspired you a bit.
Oh, absolutely. The effort that he's put into it. Check that out on YouTube, an amazing hour-long documentary as we move in to our one of our feature heats, our last heat in the underhand chop here. 2 powerhouses, the Canadian Ben Cumberland taking on Australia's Kody Steers. So I would look for, if anybody is going to take down that time of Jack Jordan, well, this is our last hope, isn't it? So.
Wow.
All right, a lot of hopes for Australia resting on Kody Steers. This is his first time in an individual world championship, so he's in a bit of a learning curve here as the Australian champion.
Ready.
Let's see how he does.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go.
We know Ben Cumberland is solid at cutting here on the underhand chop. But look at Kody Steers go. Wow, that's that Australian style. Quick, moving over to the second side. 1.5 strokes ahead of Ben Cumberland. Ben Cumberland got a bit of a sticky axe on his second driver there, and he is right there. And oh my God! Kody Steers with a 13.39. Ben Cumberland with a 15.53. Kody Steers with the fastest time of the day, just ahead of Jack Jordan. Ben Cumberland sitting in 4th place with a 15.53 unofficial, 13.39 unofficial for Kody Steers. And that is personal best almost across the board, because Dubitsky and Christoph Geisel, the only 2 guys who didn't knock personal best out of the park.
How unreal is this competition? I can't believe what I'm getting to see.
Congratulations. Both cuts are good.
You see the thumbs up there. Ben's happy with his 15.15, but Kody Steers now an official 13.19 seconds. Kody has been known as an underhand cutter from Tasmania, actually, a part of Australia. You know, they cut hardwood down there. And the one thing I saw, the difference between Ben and Kody here, Ben had a few sticks. You know, you see a couple of times he just kind of gets hooked and has to fix it. And every time you hang up on that, it costs you about 1/2 to 3/4 of a hit. Whereas Kody Steers just keeps powering through. You know, he knew exactly what he needed to do, reaching perfectly for that last driver. And, you know, if it's coming down later in the rounds, we'll see if that 1 point is going to play a factor at all as we look for our new world champion tonight.
Well, I mean, Kody Steers has set himself up well here in this first heat in the first round with the fastest time in the underhand chop. That will give him that full 12 points. As you alluded to, those points are going to be a factor going down the road. It is still early in the competition, though. We still do have 2 more disciplines in this first round. Coming up next will be the stock saw. Then following that, we have the standing block chop. So another chopping and 1 sawing discipline in here. And something I've also learned is if the wood is chopping well, usually it's not sawing so well. Let's see how that folds into this one here today.
And let's take a look at the points after this first discipline. And let's take a look at the times and the amounts of personal best. So that must be crazy. You know, you cut a personal best and then, then you're still in, I don't know, 4th position or 5th position because everyone else has also improved in that last year. Crazy, crazy.
Yeah, you know, and looking at the rankings there, I don't see a lot of surprises, though. You know, it played out as was scripted. The rankings kind of came out. Your last heat produced, your last 2 heats produced your top 4 fastest times, you know. So that's getting the wood crew and everybody doing the seating. Awesome job. But what we haven't talked about is what happens after these first 3 events and why all these points are so important.
Well, exactly, because in that first round, we have these first 3 disciplines, and then you have to have enough points because after that first round, we are going to eliminate 4 athletes and whittle it down to 8 that are going to go into the next round. But we got to get there first.
Yes, and now it's discipline number 2 of the 3 of the first round, and that is stock saw. Everything you need to know about the discipline, and of course the tool, well, that's coming up right now.
The STIHL MS661CM stock saw is used in STIHL Timbersports as the ultimate test of operator skill. Designed for the toughest jobs in forestry, it produces approximately 7.3 horsepower, has a displacement of 91.1 cc, and weighs 7.4 kilograms. To ensure evenly and fairly matched saws, professional STIHL technicians prepare and test the saws before each competition. Stock saw. After the starting shot, the contestants have to cut 2 wooden discs, so-called cookies, within a 10-centimeter mark. 1 downward and 1 upward. The attempt is only valid when both discs have been cut off completely and within the marks.
All right, so our first heat will be coming up on deck here shortly. And as we look at the stock saw heat list, Ben Cumberland up against Jack Jordan, Alex Maurice against Kody Steers, Armin Kugler going up against Danny Martin, Michael Dubitsky against Nate Hodges, Christoph Geisler, Ferry Svan, and Redmer Knoll and Koen Martens heading against each other in heat number 6. Heat number 1 lined up now. We should also point out that these heats are not anymore about the power or the strength you need. This is about knowing the machine and really feeling the machine, correct?
Now, this event, they call the stock saw the equalizer because there's no other equipment factors in this, and even the wood, everybody's in the same block, same saws.
Okay,
and,
gentlemen.
This event
Warm
right
up your
here has actually
saws.
determined who has gone forward in previous years, and you know it's in the forefront of Ben Cumberland's mind because he had a disqualification in last year's championship here, so he's going to be looking to redeem himself. And we'll see how that plays out for him, but I know he's been training like a madman at this. So
yeah, it's real easy to
results.
disqualify in this one if you don't cut a complete cookie. Here we go.
3, 2, 1, go!
Good start by Jack Jordan. He got right into it with a nice thin cookie to start things off with. Ben Cumberland's transition is also very nice. And oh, Jack Jordan with a 9.70. Ben Cumberland cutting himself a 9.86. Judges in there right away to check to make sure that no lines are crossed and 2 cookies are complete on the deck, and crossing our fingers for Ben. Hopefully he's going to have no problems with the stock here today.
Oh, solid cuts from both of those gentlemen, and that's what they're looking
Okay,
for.
congratulations. Both cuts are good.
All right, that's a good sign for Ben Cumberland right there. He's got himself 11 points here as the second place competitor, but we still have a lot more cuts to come. We should point out that Christoph Geisler has backed out of the competition here because of a problem with his back, so we do hope that he will be feeling better, and the doctors are probably giving him a back rub and making sure he's okay. Let's look back at this, though.
So as we see the replay, a dead even start from both competitors, nice and smooth on the block. And, you know, as we saw during the competition, dead even. So I think where Jack started to pull ahead of him there was probably a little bit on his transition and a little bit on his upcut. You know, it's down to just the pressure you put on the saw at what point, like, and, you know, one of the hardest things is they're in a packed stadium under the lights, 4,500 people. And, you know, it's loud, it's ferocious out there, your nerves, your hands are sweaty. Like,
and sweaty hands is the last thing you want with a stock saw in your hand as well.
That is one of the toughest events to get up on stage and do, no doubt.
All right, coming up in heat number 2, Alex Maurice against Kody Steers. Very excited to see how Kody does here. Kody seems very relaxed for a first-time competitor in the individual world championship. Doesn't seem to be folding under the pressure. Maybe it's because the party in the back has moved to the front on the chin, and he is really, really focused on
That's right, we've only
doing well here today.
seen one discipline so far. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, I know, but I like what I've seen so far from him.
You know, Kody Steers, it's our first time seeing him on this STIHL Timbersport stage, but he's definitely no stranger to pressure situations in the sport of wood chopping. You know, he has won world titles back down at home in the sport of wood chopping in some of the biggest arenas down there, so he has experienced this pressure
Okay,
before,
gentlemen.
but you know, the
Warm
lights
up your
are pretty bright up
saws.
there on that big stage, but we're gonna see if he can handle the pressure on this one.
And of course, the fans of Maurice are going to be really, really loud.
Athletes ready. Stand to your timber. 3, 2,
That was just the Kasako view
go.
from our judge Radu Kasako. Good start by Kody Steers. Alex Maurice right in there. Oh, this is looking like a good cut for Alex. Fantastic transition. Thin to win on that upcut for Alex. Oh, wow!
Sensational.
Fantastic cut for Alex Maurice, 10.85, and Kody Steers with a 10.42. So those two are very, very close together, with the official time changing now, a 10.37, a 10.77. Alex Maurice with a 10.77 and the 10.37 for Kody Steers, who will take a personal best there.
Yeah, great cuts from both those guys, solid, but a bit behind that first heat.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
Solid run for both of those gentlemen. Kody Steers continues to impress.
Indeed he does. And I'm pretty sure that Toulouse wants to hear what Alexandre Maurice has to say, but let's take a closer look at the slow-mos first.
Yeah, as we see the replay, dead smooth into the block from both of them here. And, you know, the nerves do not seem to be getting the better of Kody Steers. A perfect 1-inch disc, a little thick on the upcut, though. But, and, you know, that disc just being that slight bit thicker. You'll see guys with different angles on the saw. Now, you know, it's up to interpretation, which is faster. But on that one, it was Kody Steers. But the Frenchman, Alexander Maurice, is known as being a technician of this stock saw event. So. But again, Kody Steers, that 10.37, it was not enough to unseat either Jack Jordan or Ben Cumberland. So again, that's going to even up the even up the overall standings here. When every point matters, if you're looking for your first World Championship.
Ensemble ici, avec ton super public derrière toi. Alors un petit mot sur les deux premières épreuves. La première, tu as terminé en 11e position, mais on savait que ce n'était pas forcément ta discipline la plus facile pour toi. Et là, quand même, tu as tenu la dragée haute à notre ami australien.
Oui, bon, la première épreuve, c'est une épreuve que je connais bien. Après, il y a quand même des gros clients aujourd'hui. Donc je bats mon record perso aujourd'hui, je suis très content, mais ça ne suffit pas pour faire le tour. Qu'est-ce que tu peux demander au public pour la troisième discipline qui arrive pour toi? Un peu plus d'encouragement, s'il vous plaît.
Alexander Maurice knows that it's complicated on the first discipline because every athlete are so strong, and he just asks to the crowd, just be better for me, please. Merci Alex, et bon courage pour la suite. Ne lâche rien. Alexander Maurice!
Well, that's
Somebody's
hilarious.
having a good time, huh?
Alex says, hey, the audience needs to be better for me. Huh? That's French for you right there. Fantastic. But the audience is doing their part, and clearly Alex is doing his part.
Oh, this man as well, yeah. He's ready for it.
What a ruckus crowd, hey? And
full house.
You know, that's where you start to see a lot of personal bests and people playing up. The adrenaline that you get from a crowd with that energy, you feed off it going up on stage. So I expect to see a few more personal bests fall throughout our day here as we move into our fourth heat.
All right, a couple of guys coming up on stage right now, Armin Kugler and Danny Martin. Danny Martin is a motor saw specialist.
Les deux prochains athlètes, mesdames et messieurs.
It's the Austria-Germany battle.
From Austria, and Danny Martin from Germany.
Danny Martin holding the national record of 8.63. Armin Kugler also the national record of 10.33. So something to prove for Armin Kugler here. For Danny Martin, there's a lot to prove in the motor saw disciplines because he is a motor saw specialist. It's something that he says he's always felt very comfortable with.
And of course, his personal best would put him up in the lead. So let's see what he can do.
Okay, gentlemen, warm up your saws. Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Good grab by Danny Martin, a little bit of a fumble by Armin Kugler, but Armin Kugler's got a nice fast cut there. Danny Martin's transition was beautiful as expected, and the upcut for Danny Martin. Oh my goodness, a 10.26. Armin Kugler with an 11.65. Slow cuts for both of these guys.
Not going to be pleased with that.
Danny Martin still sitting in third place with that cut, but it's not a fast cut that he's used to having. Oh yeah, and Armin Kugler's like, no, that was not good at all. I don't like that at all.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
That putting Armin Kugler into 6th place currently with 11.46 and Danny Martin into 3rd with a 10.13. But again, why you don't see the emotion on there is both of them knew that was go time. You know, to get out of this first round, you've got 2 chops and a stock saw, and both of those guys needed those points from that stock saw. As we see Danny Martin's time has been upgraded and put him into 3rd place in that event. But I don't know how much more he could have done. Like, it comes down to just, there's nothing we can even analyze. It's in his head, his pressures, how he did things.
I mean, his transition to the upcut was very, very nice. I mean, you could say it was flawless. It might be that he was just pulling a bit too hard on it.
Absolutely, and when you want it, the stock saw is a hard thing. You can't force it. You got to let it kind of come to you. There was a fist pump, you know. He thought he was happy with his cut,
but so were you. You know, not being able to see like a big mistake, and still he's not going to be happy with that time. That's
no, exactly.
not what he's used
with
to.
a few more heats to go still, and what you don't want to see for these guys is, you know, your Jack Jordans and your Ben Cumberlands at the top of the standings in the stock saw.
Oh yeah.
Because you know they're going to be taking home quite a few points in those chopping events already. So when they start amassing those points through the sawing events as well, it's going to be tough to rein those guys in later rounds.
Speaking of a couple of good guys on the stock saw coming up now, we've got Mika Dubitsky and Nate Hodges.
And this will be one I'll be looking to, you know, I want to see how Nate performs in this, and as well as Mika Dubitsky. Nate Hodges, he is just a stick of dynamite. Everything that this man does, he does at 110 miles an hour. And I talked with some of the other US guys backstage, and they said that's going to be his biggest thing on this stage, is remaining composed and just cutting to his potential, but not trying to do too much.
Well, this is the thing, right? I mean, you could do things 110 miles an hour, but if you make a small mistake because you're not paying attention to it, it could cause a problem. So being like super speedy and kind of frantically fast isn't always going to be an advantage.
No, but I think for somebody like Nate Hodges, anything other than a gold medal for him in his mind is a failure. So he's not coming out here looking to get some top finishes. He would love to take home first place in every single event. That is his expectation. That's what he holds himself to. And again, Mika Dubitsky is just...
And I can only confirm what you're saying, because I went to visit the US team in Switzerland on the training camp, and I've never seen anyone more focused than Nate.
Yeah.
No way. He's so focused.
He's all business, eh?
Yeah, all business.
A couple of pretty close guys here as far as this is concerned in the tail of the tape. Mika Dubitsky's got a bit of an issue with the markings that they put on the block here. So our judges, Andy Hall and Radu Kasaku, will come over and just make sure that he's cool with the markings and everything so that they are aware of what's happening.
Yeah, he just wanted a little bit of clarification, you know. They get they get 10 centimeters in which to make this 2 cuts. And, you know, as the heats go on, there's multiple lines up there, so he just wanted some clarification to make sure he's not going to get any kind of disqualification and lose points.
Okay, gentlemen, warm up your saws.
And those MS661 saws are almost always flawless starters, and the only thing that you can really do is make a mistake in how you operate the saw.
Athletes, ready! Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Got an even start for both of these guys. It's looking very even for both of them. Nate, oh wow, look at that transition. But he's got a bit of a problem as he had a cutout. Mika Dubitsky with a 10.46 PB, and Nate Hodges is going to be very unsatisfied with that cut as he had to go back and recut that up. And hopefully he's got a complete cookie there and hasn't cut over the line. We'll find out when the judges have a closer look at everything here. And
it looks good.
Andy Hall is not throwing a flag down on the play, so that's good. I thought he was reaching back there as well.
Again, that's exactly what we talked about, you know, like just
that frantic movement.
Playing too close to the
sun. Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
Okay, well, that's at least one hurdle that Nate Hodges has gotten over here. The time, not so fantastic. He's sitting in 8th places in the stock saw right now. Mika Dubitsky is in 4th place, so he's in the middle of the pack here, putting him in 3rd, 4th place in the overall standings as well.
Exactly. And now you say it's a hurdle he went over, but Nate Hodges definitely just ran straight through that hurdle. You know, but he got
a great picture in my head.
He got his, and it still wouldn't hurt him. He's a ball of muscle, that boy. But you know, like, that's going to be a hard one to come back from. We haven't had any DQs so far, right? So right now, Nate Hodges sitting in last place in the stock saw. And, you know, now it really is going to put the pressure on him going into that standing block And we'll see, yeah, as we
And
see
he
the
cut in
close-up
far
there.
on that cutout, hey?
Absolutely, but he did very good to get that cut in there still with a complete disc.
Yeah, it's a great reaction if you ask me, but still costly.
Great recovery, absolutely, absolutely. And, you know, he had the presence of mind to notice. A lot of guys would have just kept cutting that.
Because he was like 1/3 of the cookie already up?
Absolutely, and the way that he knew, an experienced competitor like Nate, the pressure, it would be moving too quick, right? The saw would be moving too quick because it's only cutting 3/4 of the wood, and he would have felt that because he wasn't looking over the side of the block. I don't think he saw it visually, but, you know, that's where his experience did come through because he felt it going too quick.
But you did see him glance around the corner when he realized that, and then he's like, oh, got to make a change.
Totally, as we see our last competitor coming up because, unfortunately, Christoph Geisler has stepped down due to injury.
I sympathize with him having a back issue. Man, oh man. Ferry Svan will be on stage by himself. And Ferry's a seasoned competitor now after being a pro for several years and having come through the rookie ranks, but still being on stage by yourself, it's a different animal, isn't it?
It definitely is, but if there was an event that you were going to go by yourself in, the stock saw is what? You're kind of in your own, you're in your own little bubble anyways, you know? You see they've all got their ear, eye, and leg protection on. You're in your little office there, right? You're not really worried about what the guy on the other side of the stage is doing. It doesn't have the same kind of adrenaline lacking as, for lack of a better word, if you were to be chopping against nobody. You see how I tried to get back from my stumble on words there, and I didn't quite get there, did I, boys?
I know exactly
Hey,
what you mean.
We're with you. We were just going to let you drag that one into the grave and have ourselves a good old time.
What you saw? But guys, if somebody can take care of that situation, I think it's fair.
Yeah,
absolutely. It's, you know,
well, this is why I mentioned off the hop that he's a seasoned competitor now, but still, you know, I don't know. For me, it would be weird being up there alone, but that's just me.
Athlete ready! Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
All right, time to beat here is 9:50, and Ferry Svan getting in with a nice, clean first cookie. Great transition, and that's a thin upcut right there. He might be very close, and the time hasn't stopped there. Unfortunately, the timer didn't click the button, and I think there's going to be a major change. It will get changed at 10:22, so that puts him in 4th place in stock saw for the moment.
Yeah, and that's a great finish for Ferry Svan. That's what he needed to do. You know, you want to be in at least the top half. And, but you know, as I look down the rankings, we'll talk a little bit more.
Okay, congratulations. The cut is good.
That's almost a disappointed look on Ferry's face.
That's content. He went up, you know, I had some conversations with him backstage, and everybody knows in the stock saw, like, it's not necessarily an event that is going to win you a world title, but it can definitely lose it for you. And we've seen that in previous years, and, you know, we've seen what that's done now to Nate Hodges. As the rankings will come up in a little bit, he had that great underhand chop, but it's knocked him right down the rankings. So Ferry went out. Calm, cool, composed. You see the look on his face, and you can even see it in the slow-mo videos of his arms. He's not over gripping that saw. He's calm, he's relaxed. As you said, he's becoming an experienced guy, but still the youngest athlete on this stage. So, you know, if he doesn't walk away with a world title this year, I firmly believe there is a world championship in Ferry Svan's future.
I also like on this upcut, he braces the saw against his leg, which we see quite a few competitors do, just to add that little bit of pressure so that you're not working it, as you say, with the arms so much.
Well, why most of us do that is it takes away the vibration of the saw because it roots it in the ground, right? If you were just to be holding that with your hands, you can see the chain bouncing back and forth there and the throttle body moving quite a bit. By bracing that against your leg, it takes away that vibration, which gives you a faster cut.
There you go. Again, what learned?
Happy you didn't let me fall right off the boat, hey? That's why you keep me here.
Hey, you had the floaties on for that one. All right, so our last heat coming up here, heat number 6 in stock saw, Redmer Knoll against Koen Martens.
And you know their personal bests. Koen Martens 9.52, Redmer Knoll 10.01, so they could be.
They both need to be in the top half, you know. They sat in 7th and 8th place respectively out of 12 in that underhand cut, so they're going to need these points. They are two athletes that definitely need these sawing overall points.
And it's
going
definitely
into the last
possible
chop.
if you take a look at personal bests.
Warm up your shores.
All right, looking to see good things here from both of these guys. Koen Martens, he's a seasoned competitor. Red McNoll has been really on fire since last year, so I'm always rooting for these two guys, a couple of the greatest guys in the sport, actually. Here we go.
3, 2, 1, go!
Nice even start by both of them. That's a thin cookie on both sides. Wow, these are looking like some pretty quick cuts. Great transition by Koen Martens. Great transition by Red McNoll. Oh! How close was that? 10.53 to 10.31 for both of these guys. Nice times, and that puts them in 5 and let's see where Redmer is, 8th place respectively there. So that's a rough one for Koen Martens, dropping into 8th place, but great job by Koen Martens to get up there into 5th place. Did I say Koen Martens twice? I meant Red McNoll in 8th place.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
All right.
Oh, look at that reaction.
Always the same, huh?
Good.
Always the same.
He's having the time of his life.
Absolutely, and so he should be.
Brilliant.
All right, and of course our fantastic stage crew, as you see them coming up there to clean up everything and change the stands and get everything ready for our next discipline coming up as we look back here at this one.
Absolutely. As we were saying, both these guys could have really used those few extra points, as we see Red McCall doing a technically perfect sized disc. As we were saying, we call it thin to win. The thinner the disc, the faster that saw is going to cut through that log, as there's less compression from the outside of the wood.
Oh, that transition.
Dead even on their transitions. And there's not much more either of them could have done. And, you know, we didn't see a single DQ in the stock saw.
Yeah, that's unusual. Normally there's at least one.
Absolutely.
Are you worried now, Sterling?
Me? Worried?
Never.
No, I don't worry.
So maybe if we're lucky, we can hear what Koen has to say, because he's just loving it at the moment. Oh, and we can.
I have one question for you, because you were yesterday in front of this amazing crowd. Tonight you are alone for Belgium. What are your feelings tonight?
Je suis très content parce que l'atmosphère ici, c'est magnifique. Merci public pour l'atmosphère. C'est un grand honneur pour tout athlète pour participer ici. Un grand merci et amusez-vous.
Thank you very much, everybody from France. You are so amazing. It's a great honor to be there in front of you. You are so cool, so amazing. Last question. What's your focus now for the last discipline on the first round?
Mon focus, c'était bon pour le standing. J'aime ça beaucoup. Et mon idée est faire la haute saut à la dernière dans la compétition. C'est comme ça.
We hope for you, man. He said that he would like to be really good on the next discipline, because he would like to be here for the hot saw. We hope so for you. So see you in the hot saw, okay?
Merci bien. Amusez-vous.
Thank you, man.
Oh, what a character. Love this
him.
guy.
Yeah, fantastic. Great guy.
So it's time to take a look at the rankings. First, stock saw discipline, and then, of course, the overall ranking, because this is what it's all about.
And there you see it, you know, like our first heat, Jack Jordan, Ben Cumberland, those were our first and second places, and that's, you know, awesome for them. That is not what the rest of the field wants to see, is those two, like,
oh, no.
those are two of the big dogs up there, right? And them taking first and second place in the stock saw.
What's happening, Troy?
No, I was just going to point out that the bottom 4 guys, we got some pretty strong competitors down there. Red McConnell, Armin Kugler, Alexander Maurice. I mean, obviously, Christoph Geisler is not going to be seen in the competition anymore, but the remaining 3 there, they are literally on the bubble, so they have to have a solid standing here in order to get back up into the mix. And we mentioned this is probably one of the strongest fields we've had
in the history of the individual world championships, because it's really, you throw a dart, hit them a name on the board, and you could have a winner here. It's fantastic. I love it. The action is just hot.
But I think the biggest story coming out of that stock saw was Nate Hodges.
Yeah.
You know, one of the favorites coming in, but we talked about it. You know, he likes to dance in the flames there, and it bit him on this one, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Like, he is one of the best standing block cutters. He cut the standing block for the States in a couple races. He has in the past. But if anybody, like, he's got a shot to win this standing block, and he knows that he's going to need those points going forward. So expect a blistering time.
And you'll see exactly why when he gets on the standing block, because he is a beast.
And the standing block, of course, is our next discipline. And all you need to know, well, it's coming up right now.
Standing block chop. At the standing block chop, the felling of a tree with an axe is simulated. A vertically positioned wooden block with a diameter of 30 centimeters has to be cut through both sides. A powerful and precise swing with the axe is the premise of a good result.
Time to take a deep breath and get ready for the last discipline in this first round. That, of course, is the standing block chop. We'll have in heat number one, Alexandre Meurice taking on Christoph Geister. No, being all by himself, because Christoph Geister has pulled out. Then we'll see Danny Martin take on Michael Dubitsky. Armin Kugler against Koen Martins in heat number three. Heat number four consisting of Ferry, Svan and Redmer Knoll. Jack Jordan against Ben Cumberland in heat five. And heat six, that's going to be Nate Hodges against Kody Steers. Enjoy, everybody.
So we talked about that being on stage alone situation for the stock saw, and you mentioned, Sterling, that it's not quite so important in that discipline. Different situation here for standing block.
Oh, absolutely. Being up there by yourself, you know, the whole focus of the crowd is on you. And but Alexandre Meurice, although it is the first time that we've seen him as the French national champion, he is a seasoned competitor as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, he's got great composure. He knows what he needs to do going out there. He's going to cut his own race. So in a way, sometimes that can be beneficial, because you're not worried about what the guy on the other side is doing. And in any sport, they always tell you, run your own race, and he's got no choice.
Athlete, ready!
And he's got the crowd on his
your
side.
timber.
100%.
3, 2, 1, go!
All right, so he gets right into that block here, and immediately the chips are flying. Ooh, a bit of a split in the log. That's going to take away some of the power that the axe is putting in there.
Personal best of 24.81, by the way.
Oh, is he going to do it? He's going to do it. 22.01, a personal best for Alex Meurice. Fantastic showing for him today so far. It is absolutely amazing what he's been able to pull off here, especially being out there alone. And I think probably he definitely used the crowd on that one.
Yeah.
Congratulations, the cut is good.
Great cut from Alexandre Meurice, putting him overall into third place. Obviously, first place the standing block with a 21.72. And as we do take a look at his replay, there was a few things to notice. As you saw him chopping, we saw his block come a little bit loose. But why that's happened, this wood that has been picked out from here in France, it's such high quality, it's so soft, high quality for chopping wood, that he scooped a little bit. He kind of ran out of wood. We call scoop. It's a bit of a glance, and the axe doesn't go exactly where you want it. And it actually split his block on the front side here. And when it split it, I'm really hoping we can see it, because when it splits it, you can see there, because what it does is where that block is dogged in with those black dogs, it's now split open. So every hit, he's losing a bit of power on every single hit.
Yeah, you can see the entire block moving.
You can see it moving, right? And, you know, that probably cost him 3 hits overall. Like, it probably cost him 2 hits chopping and then 1 hit mentally, right? As you can see his angles changing all the way through that block. He's not going to be, you can see the look on his face. It's not exactly what he wanted to do, and he knows he needed to go on that one. It might not necessarily be enough for him to move on to the next rounds, but we're going to find out moving forward here as 2 big dogs come on the stage.
All right, Danny Martin going up against Mika Dubitsky in this one. Mika Dubitsky, wow, look at the time there, 16.80. If he can get him anywhere close to that, he'll have the top spot in the standing block chop. But again, it's just about the performance on stage. Danny Martin's been working a lot with this discipline, so I expect a personal best out of him today as well.
Absolutely. I'd expect a personal best out of both of these guys, actually. Again, Dubicki going for the RPM on this one, and the woods come out pretty high quality here, so I'd expect some pretty fast times coming up here short.
I find it fascinating that the guys can go RPM on these standing blocks. I mean, it's such a dangerous thing to do, you know, because of that skip
to your
possibility.
timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Great start from Martin.
Yeah, getting right into it. Some nice chips flying there for both of these guys. Look at that, the power and the speed moving over to the other side for both of these guys pretty much the same time. Danny going for those big, heavy drivers. Mika Dubitsky going for pace. Oh, and he's got that big slap that came off the top, and he has dropped that block in 16.92. Danny Martin with a 25.9. He got that personal best. That will probably be adjusted down. We'll see. And I think they're going to change the time for Mika Dubitsky as well, because somebody punched the button a little bit too early when that first big slab came off.
Down to 20.52 and 20.59 respectively. Them giving that heat, it seems, to Michael Dubicki as we get the final decision here from Judge Andy Hall.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
Mikael angry.
Both of those guys are not going to be very happy with those. They both made quite a few miscues, and you see quite a difference in the styles on this one, whereas Danny Martin cutting with what we call a lot of slope, a lot of angle. The most efficient way to go through these blocks is on a 45 degree. You know, it's the easiest way to cut it is if you were splitting firewood, but the most direct is straight through. And, you know, Mikael Dubicki here showing us that the fastest way between 2 points is straight through. Not taking a lot of slope on that, but you know, when you've got arms like that, man, he was going straight through. But both of them made some miscues on the backside. You see when they go to drive off, neither of them getting a little bit, see the miss hit by Danny.
It was a bit too far outside.
And the block again split over there. It's both those guys going to drive that block off, as in the last hit there. Both of them, both made that mistake, trying to rush that hit off. Danny Martin initially excited because he knew that he beat Mikael Dubicki, but what he didn't know is Mikael Dubicki did not have his greatest cut. So, you know, both of those guys, yeah, and then you see the actual emotion when he kind of realizes.
The realization of the cut.
Exactly. And
nevertheless, he's got himself a personal best. So that is a step in the right direction for Danny Martin. He sits in second place just behind Mika Dubitsky in the standing block chop as our next 2 athletes come on stage, Koen Martens and Armin Kugler. Now, Armin Kugler is a big man, 1.96 m. I think that's like 6'5", something like that. He can step back from that block a little bit and really throw the axe at it, as you could see he holds the national record for standing block chop in Austria. Koen Martens, a little bit smaller, but no less powerful, as you say, he is a technician.
Yeah, and his personal best under 19 seconds, so definitely a man to watch.
Okay, gentlemen.
There's a lot to be said about positivity as well.
Athletes, ready.
I'm positive I'm going to beat this block to bits. Here we go.
3, 2, 1, go.
You can see Armin Kugler really throwing that power at it. He's a little bit closer than I expected him to be. Koen Martens onto the second side of his block, slightly ahead of Armin there, as they're getting fast through this thing. Oh, wow! look at that cut from Armin Kugler, or from Koen Martens, excuse me.
No way!
15.46, a personal best. And
he's gonna go wild.
That is a fantastic improvement from an 18 to a 15 for Koen Martens. This wood is chopping fantastic today. Great job by him. He takes over the top spot. Armin Kugler with a 20.91 unofficially at the moment. Some changes here. Yeah, 20.74 for Armin Kugler. Slight improvement, but
okay,
Koen Martens, wow, he's having a day.
What's he going to do next? The somersault, the backflip?
Well, you never know. Hopefully not with those axes in his hand.
I chatted to both of these guys. There you go. Take a bow, my man. You earned that one. I chatted with both of these guys this morning before the whole event started, and you know, Armin said to me, he's like, what I am happy about is in the standing, which is not always his best event. He was in the fourth, he was in the later heat. So what that does is it gives you the ability to see how the others have chopped it. And
we talked about that yesterday, yeah.
And Koen Martens, I had a direct conversation with him about this event. And I said, I think you should go 1 up and 1 down and put 8 in the front. He said, no, I'm much more comfortable going 2 up, 2 down. And he's like, I'm going to put 10. But if it goes really well, I'm going to put 6 or 7. And he knew, and that's the experience there in the training that he's put in. He only put 7 hits in the front. And he knew that he was halfway through. So when he went around to the back, he knew that he could shortcut it a little bit. And, you know, his pattern was perfect. That's training. That's training right there. And he's broken it down to a science. That's putting together a plan in your head, executing that plan. And that's what's given him that 15.17, by far his best standing block cut he has ever done in his life. And he did it on the world's biggest stage.
And I love how he celebrates that peacock walk to the end of the stage to thank everybody out there, including God. All right, so coming up now, we have a couple of guys that are real strong in this discipline, and that is Ferry Svan from Sweden and Redmar Knoll from the Netherlands.
Guys that are both going to need to go here and start picking up some still overall points. As we said before, this is our last event before we do eliminate another 3 people. So, you know, both of these guys, very good standing block cutters, though. They both cut for their teams, for their nations in that team's World Championship before.
Both still very young, 28 and 29 years old.
Athletes
still,
ready!
glass ceiling for these guys.
To your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
And Ferry, of course, going at it with pace. He's got the RPMs going up there, as Sterling likes to say, but Redmar Knoll onto that second side very quickly. Did he shortcut that one a little bit, maybe?
He only put 6 in the front, but, you know, let's see if it pays off. Very small, and it did!
Wow,
and it did!
For Redmar Knoll with a fantastic run for him, 16.91. And I tell you, confidence plays a massive role for that man. He has done well.
What happened to Ferry? What happened to Ferry at the end?
I don't know. I didn't quite see. We'll have to check it out in the replay. But looking at his block, I just got a little quick glance of it, but it looks like he might have missed on his top blow. So what happens when you do that? If your cuts don't quite line up, it's what's called stumping, is you're driving your axe into the block. It doesn't allow it to come in half.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
All right, great job by Redmar Knoll to get that personal best in a 16.64. That's a big improvement for him as well, going from a 19.61 to the 16.64. A 19.68 for Ferry Svan. That's a drop in his speed here, and let's take a look back.
Absolutely, and Redmar Knoll only putting 6 hits in the front of that block. And again, that's chalking it up to being in some of these later heats. He was able to watch Koen Martens go up and only put 7 hits in the front and get away with a fast time on the back. So, you know, he said to himself that you're basically betting on yourself at this point. Like, if he can do it,
I can do it.
I can do it. You know, he had the roadmap watching his fellow European get away with it. So he went around 6 hits. And, but when you do try to make that attempt and try to drive a lot of extra wood, that's when we start seeing the axes stick. You see a stick from Ferry, you see a stick from Redmar, you know, and those cost you time. That cost him about an extra, and there, you see him just miss a little bit, and the axe sticking.
But hopefully we can see Ferry now.
Right? And he just missed those last few fibers. It just sitting there, right?
Look. Ah!
Right?
And that was a shallow cut on that second side as well, wasn't it?
Well, you can see it's not dead smooth. So see how his cuts are kind of like a step level? That's kind of, again, wanting it just a little bit too much.
But that must have cost him
down.
at least a second.
More than that, probably, but we'll see. But you want some fast times.
Okay.
We got some fast times coming up right now.
Look at Cumberland's personal best, 14.63. Holy smokes. I mean, geez. Should be interesting for Jack Jordan. I mean, the way this wood has been cutting tonight, I wouldn't be at all surprised to see Jack Jordan taking the top time and maybe a personal best here as well.
Exactly. I think we'd be looking for Jack to go 6 in the front, and he's probably going to try for 5 on the back.
I wouldn't be surprised if he did 4 and 2.
7. Yeah, this is giant of a man.
The way that he's been cutting lately, Jesus.
Absolutely.
Okay, gentlemen. Athletes, ready. Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go.
Ben is almost always the anchor on the standing block chop for Team Canada, so you know he has got this one dialed. Jack Jordan over to the second side of his block, just ahead of Ben Cumberland, maybe 1/2 stroke to a full stroke, but Jack looking really good. And oh my goodness, a season's best, personal best, 12.65 for Ben Cumberland, and a fantastic cut for Jack Jordan as well, a 15.03. And we missed that cut again on Ben Cumberland. He was so quick. We weren't expecting that at all.
Wow. You weren't expecting that at all.
Well, we weren't expecting to not see the cut come off the block.
There's 40 million people back in Canada that knew what that man was capable of, but hopefully we see in the replay there was a few things that we're going to dive into.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
Ben Cumberland, very happy, a 12.4, and I assume that's probably going to be a new national record for Canada as well, and very close to that world record time of 11.03. A great cut from the captain, Ben Cumberland. And so Ben did what we say, doing his homework on the front. Ben went for doing a few extra hits on the front and ensuring it came off on the back. And even Ben had he was a little off balance, but you know, hopefully we get to see in the replay, Jack Jordan, when he went to go drive his block up, he had the same thing happen to him that happened to Ferry Svan, where he drove off and the block actually hung there. So Jack lost at least 1.5 seconds trying to get that block off as he drove it, as we see probably one more up here for Ben, and then bringing the coals here.
Ooh,
right
slip.
there. And down it comes, but watch here, Jack. Hopefully we get an extra drive, and as it comes off, it hangs.
Oh, it's got a
You see this block as it comes down, and it just hangs there in the near. He didn't quite reach an extra hit. Well, that's got to bite him. You know, that dropped him just below Koen Martens in a standing block chop, where Jack Jordan, those are normally guaranteed points for a man like that. You know, chopping is his forte.
And Ben Cumberland looking very relaxed today, very relaxed. As you mentioned right off the top, floaty on the walk-in, you said he looks really relaxed.
He does. And he greeted someone to the camera. Any ideas who that could have been?
I didn't see the hi mom mouthing words. All right, up next, standing block chop heat number 6, the final heat against, here we have Nathan Hodges against Kody Steers.
Nate Hodges having that having to go back in his stock saw, and you know, he knows he has to go here now, so we'll see if that plays to his benefit or if it's going to be his downfall. But Kody Steers, calm, cool, collected. This is one of his best events, and I think he knows overall he just needs to go out and put a cut in that he's potential of, and grab some points and move on.
Athletes, ready. Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Kody Steers getting into it with pace right away. Nate Hodges, the power packet, going at it as well. He is angry at that block. Both of them moving over to the second side, pretty much even. Nate Hodges picking up the pace. Kody Steers looking good. Oh! 12.48 personal best by Kody Steers. He will take second place just behind Ben Cumberland there. Nate Hodges with a fantastic 14.33. It's not a personal best for him, but that jumps him up into third place in the standing block chop results.
And that just goes to show you what kind of a cut Ben Cumberland put down in that standing block. There was nothing more Kody Steers could have done. He cut that block. That was his plan. He went out and he cut that exactly how he intended to. I didn't see him stick one time. But, and Man, just insane. Whereas Nate Hodges.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
So 8 personal bests in that standing block chop. This is unbelievable.
This is where it's going to get interesting now, folks, because we had a couple of bubble athletes there, and we'll only find out who is going to be moving on to the next round once we get a look back at the results. But first, let's have a look at these slow-mos. Yeah.
Both of these athletes putting 8 hits in the front. Both seasoned standing block competitors. Just each hit chasing the other. Kody steers. Amazing cut. And he doesn't have the haircut anymore, but he definitely did what we call the mullet cut here. You know, he did the business in the front so he could go around and he could party on the back, as you see that man. Absolutely destroying that block. And you know, you see the look on his face. He thought he had it. He thought he had that standing block in the bag. That's how good he cut that. But looking at the times, I think the times have actually been readjusted, and they have given the win in that standing block to Kody Steers.
They have.
They've gone back and reassessed that. So Kody backing themselves. And,
just to clarify why that happens, ladies and gentlemen, is because we have 4 timer buttons out front with actual physical human beings pushing buttons, and then we have our timer at the competition control center that makes the final and
now we have
change.
The overall standings, and that of course means the top 8 are going to proceed to the second round, and we have to say goodbye to 4 athletes. We knew about Christoph Geisler, that he wouldn't be part of this, but Danny Martin, the bronze medalist from last year, he has not made it to the next round, and that is going to be a big, big disappointment.
Yeah, and Alexander Maurice as well is out, as along with Armin Kugler. I mean, that tells you everything you need to know about this field. It is incredibly strong, because normally we're seeing a guy like Danny Martin or Armin Kugler almost perennially making it to the second round with ease.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
Wow is right.
So here we have it again. That's the top 8 proceeding to the next round and the next discipline, which of course will be the single buck. Let's talk about Danny Martin. That is a big surprise, and he will be very, very disappointed.
He is going to be gutted about that, because you know he's always highly motivated to make it into that second round, because once he's in that second round, he knows he can do well in that single buck and in the springboard. And once he gets through there, he's got a solid hot saw. This time, unfortunately, it doesn't work out for him, so he's going to be absolutely mad at himself about this as well.
Absolutely, you know, and it was his 2 chops that actually cost him that. He only took home 3 and 4 points respectively in those chopping disciplines. And, you know, once you get to this stage, you can't lose those points. You know, he was only 1 point behind Mikkel Dubicki for that 8th spot, and 1 point in either of those would have been enough to project him forward. And so, you know, that's where you start to see every second counts when it's the top 12 athletes in the world. And, you know, the competition's only going to get more intense here going forward. As the points now double, right? Yep. We're down to 8 competitors, and the points double, meaning first place is going to get 16, correct, second 14, and so on and so forth. So anybody that has now fallen behind, it gives them the ability to now jump up the standings, as well as you can also drop down the standings too.
Oh yeah, and the next discipline, that's the standing block chop, and all you need to know about this discipline.
Single buck, my friend.
Oh, thank you very much. Single buck after the standing block chop, and all you need to know about this discipline coming up right now.
Misery whip.
They're basically the same.
The 2-meter-long cross-cut saw used for the single buck discipline is made especially for competition. A series of consistently patterned 10-centimeter-long teeth are cut with a laser on one side of the saw and then hand-sharpened. Saw teeth are divided into 2 types, cutters and rakers, just like on the old-school saws. The saw weighs about 5 kilos, and its base price starts at around 1,500 euros. Single buck. The single buck is a one-man saw about 2 meters long. With this, the athletes have to cut off a complete disc of a 46-centimeter thick wooden block. The perfect interplay between rhythm and strength is the key to success.
Time to take a look at the upcoming heats. Michal Dubitsky against Red McNoll in heat number 1. Then it's going to be Ferry Svan taking on Nate Hodges. In heat 3, we're going to see Koen Martens and Kody Steers. And finally, in heat number 4, Jack Jordan against Ben Cumberland.
Speaking of Ben Cumberland, he is the current world record holder in this discipline, so look for him to add to his point total here if he has a nice clean cut and the misery whip doesn't take its toll on him at the bottom of the cut, which we have seen when guys get a little bit excited.
And as we do see on the graphic there, that world record time of 10.47, that record could be in jeopardy here. We got some of the world's best single sawyers coming up on the stage in these next 4 heats.
So Michal Dubitsky 11.67 and Red McNoll the national record with 13.18. And again, you know, both of these guys training hard in the off season and throughout the main season. Red McNoll in particular, and I keep talking about this guy. You know, he spent a lot of time down in Australia training with the Chopperoos. He came back with an Australian accent, which he denies to this day. But you know, if you talk to him, you can hear it. It's
Absolutely.
mad.
I'm
but
with you.
I expect a good time out of him today, and you know, you can always expect a good time out of Michal Dubitsky. He's been very, very solid in this discipline for a long time.
And guys, who do you think the crowd is going to get behind now? Because Maurice is gone. You know, they have to find a new darling, a new favorite. So who might that be?
If I had to choose, Koen Martens, because he spoke to them in French.
Win the crowd, win your freedom.
Win the crowd, win your freedom. There you go. Are you not entertained?
I think we're about to be.
Yes, sir.
Okay, gentlemen. Athletes, ready. Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, key here is to get that saw started, and the first thing that Michal Dubitsky does is he doesn't get it started. And that gave Red Knoll a nice advantage getting into that cut. The flow is going for Knoll. Michal Dubitsky, though, he got into it and moves fast, knuckles to tip, but he still managed to get through there with a 14.09. Red Knoll with a 17.56, much slower than his fastest time, so I might have jinxed him on that one. Redmer, I'm sorry about that, my friends. I thought you were going to be faster.
And he's going to say, no worries.
No worries, mate.
Yeah, unfortunately, both those guys having uncharacteristic cuts, like just not smooth in the wood, not what we were used to seeing from both of these athletes. You see the saw chattering just quite a bit. Michal Dubitsky hanging up right at the top, and it is so hard to get your balance back after something like that.
Okay,
Interestingly enough, too,
both cuts are good.
Normally what we see Michal Dubitsky do is he does a few short, quick cuts to get the saw moving, and then goes for the full-length cuts. This time it looked like he was trying to get the saw started with those full-length cuts, and that bit him. I mean, a change, you know, don't work a running system, right?
And you can see a couple of hang-ups there, and that allowed Redmer to pull ahead. Wait and see here. Yeah. So a couple things can happen there. As you pull the saw back, any change in angle will cause it to hang up. You see how sharp those teeth are, and it causes those teeth to kind of hit the outside edge of the log. And
they're long as well, 10 centimeters.
Absolutely, and you know, we see Michal Dubitsky foregoing oxygen on this one as well. But you know, sawing with an aggressive style like that, it doesn't always pay. You've got to let the saw do the work for you, and you know, sometimes applying a little bit too muscle, that's what can, yeah. So we see the same thing happening there. Now I don't know if it's a difference of the wood that these guys weren't prepared for.
I mean, if I look at that, I think it was just the excitement of the start for Michal Dubitsky and the excitement of the finish for Red Knoll. You know, he thought he was going to get to the bottom quicker, change the angle slightly to try and get a faster cut, and then it bit him.
Absolutely, as we see the slow-mo here and those chips, those noodles we call them, being pulled out with each stroke. But we've got two more very fast single sawyers coming up right now.
Now we know that Ferry Svan does a lot of training with Hans-Ove Hansen, who was an absolute fantastic single sawyer in his day when he competed. You know, I see that Ferry Svan is probably going to be one of those guys, if not already in the future, will be the man that everybody looks to for the single saw and speed.
Absolutely, as we let these guys get their set in, allowed on top there. Now Nate Hodges has got pretty much a brand new single saw from JP Mercier out of Canada. And we don't see many guys do this, but he actually posted his test cuts when he got his brand new saw Now, in his video, he was able to cut this log in 9 strokes.
Wow.
If he was able to do that at just over a second per stroke, that puts him on world record pace. So, you know, he's got the equipment. Let's see if he's got the discipline to just let this saw run to its potential. You can see the determination on his face, though. He knows he's got to go if he wants that world title.
Yeah. There's the perennial swing from the lower hand from Ferry Svan.
Stand
Here we go.
to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Right away, Ferry Svan gets using the entire length of that saw. Nate Hodges, wow, the pace he's got going on. This is looking good for both of them. Ferry Svan getting close to the bottom. Oh, yes! Nate Hodges with a personal best. 11.91. We'll see an adjustment there as well.
13 strokes on that one.
Yeah, it was, you know, like, he wasn't using the entire saw. Now, I know that is kind of his style. Whether or not it kind of pays off, but, you know, that does put him in first place currently, but we'll see if it's enough. You know, you've got some very, very good single sawyers still coming up on stage, and you can't let any points slide, as we saw some people eliminated in the first round. And as we'll get the decision here, it doesn't look like any infractions.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
11.74 there from Nate Hodges, your new leader, as we'll get a look at some of the slow motion. Now, we didn't see any hang-ups on this one, so a lot smoother from both competitors. And, you know, as we go through the heats, they kind of have ranked these competitors. So as you go further in the heats, you will see the guys that technically have better personal bests. So, again, that does pay to be in that higher, you see something on that video.
Yeah, pay attention to the finger, the index finger on the right hand of Ferry Svan. He runs it along the edge of the saw, and I believe, if I remember the conversation we had one time, he does that in order to remind himself to keep the saw in line and flat.
Obviously, yeah, of course. And what it also does is it loosens your grip on the saw. Because all of a sudden, if you try to overgrip and muscle that saw, what it actually does is it actually twists the handle. Anybody that's played any kind of a racket sport, golf, baseball, tennis, the harder you try and hit something or grip it, it just throws off the whole trajectory of it. And chopping and sawing is absolutely no different. You need a firm, calm, relaxed grip. And that's exactly what Ferry Svan did there in that last heat of the single saw.
Grip it and rip it, as they say in this case, and that's exactly what the next two guys are going to hopefully do. That's Koen Martens going up against Kody Steers. Now, Kody Steers had to step in for Brad DeLosa in the team competition because Brad was off getting his back loosened up, and he did a fantastic job for the Chopperoos in the team competition. I'm expecting big things out of him in this single saw.
Absolutely. Now, it's not known to be Kody Steers' best event, but it doesn't mean he's not an amazing single sawyer. So, you know, at this stage now, these guys are looking to go. Now that the points are worth double, you know, if you drop down one placing in this, losing those 2 points, it's very, very hard to get those points back with only 3 events left in this series. So both of these athletes know if they want a chance at that overall world title, they can't leave any of these still overall points on the table there.
And Koen, of course, being on fire. Let's see what he can do in this discipline.
I mean, we know that Koen's very good in the single saw. You know, and at the moment right now, he's just riding on a personal best high.
Oh, gentlemen, athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, a bit of a sticky pullback for Koen Martens, but he gets it flowing again.
Kody.
Kody Steers is looking very good. Quick pace, plus he's using the entire length of the saw. And Kody Steers is getting to the bottom of that cut nice and fast. Oh, but he's left the tab. The misery whip plays a role here, but he stayed in place and pulled it back, got the tab off, so shouldn't have any problems there. 18.92. That is a slow cut for Koen Martens.
Yeah, not what Koen was hoping to do in that instance there. Yeah, really bad hang off the top. And what that does, it really rattles your confidence, you know. And when these guys go up, they have pre-marked where they want their feet to go based on how they've trained. So when you hang up right at the top like that, you probably watch their feet kind of change position. And now all of a sudden, if you're a little too close to the log or if you're a little too far away, that can play a huge role in how the rest of your cut goes.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
All right, so personal best for Kody Steers at a 15.31. That has him currently in 4th place in the single buck. Kieran Martin's bottom of the list so far in 6th with an 18.63. That's uncharacteristic for him, as we'll take a look back at the slow-mos here.
It is, yeah. You'll see the hang here, just that you know, I think
horrible
it was just
start.
one, but it does. It shifts your feet and it throws your confidence. So then you end up, you know, kind of either short stroking. You saw tentatively. You know, all of a sudden your confidence is rattled, so you're not putting everything you can. You're just trying not to hang up again because you know you're now behind the 8 ball. And Kody Steers, hopefully we get a shot of it, very consistent all the way down. But what happens at the bottom of his block here? Hopefully we get a shot of it. You'll see Kody Steers is actually banging the handle off that block. He's about 2 inches too close to the log. And what happens when he bangs it on this next stroke? Boom. Snaps that disc off. But he has the foresight to go back and finish that disc off, but it's still going to cost him a couple of seconds, at least a second and a half, you know, and with 2 more guys coming up still, that can always be the difference, you know. So.
And Kody's also quite lucky that he had a bit of a fat disc there, so there was more material for him to leave the saw on instead of having to replace the saw and cut it off that last half.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't call it fat. It might be retaining water, but...
Okay, I'm being a little bit insensitive here.
Yeah, you know, and an uncharacteristic slower time from Koen Martin. You see, okay, I didn't notice that. See another, and see that back foot move.
Yeah, he had to switch.
Right, and he changed, and now see he lifts up and he's changed his angle again, which causes it to bind again. Right, so a couple of uncharacteristic hangs from this normally calm, cool, and composed Sawyer, and he knew it right away. And it's that's a hard one for guys like that to come back from.
Big chance for Jack Jordan and Ben Cumberland now to get some valuable points.
These are not guys you want to leave the door open for. So you see Ben Cumberland, our current world record holder, at 10.47. And I don't know, like Nate Hodges sitting at 11.74. I'd say this record is in jeopardy. Ben Cumberland, both of these athletes, I would say, have the potential to break this world record here. So I don't know if either of them would actually be gunning for something like that. I think after seeing a bunch of guys hang up, both of them are just going to be looking for solid cuts, because they know if they cut to about 85 to 90% of their potential, that's going to be enough to get them into that top 3 position, which is all they need to advance, because everybody is just trying to get through to that hot saw event, right? You want the opportunity to be able to go for it and win that world title. So we'll see which one of these approaches both of these guys take.
A little bit of housekeeping there for Ben Cumberland as he sets his saw.
Okay, gentlemen, athletes, ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, Jack Jordan getting into it with some pace there. Ben Cumberland using long, efficient strokes. Let's see which one of these 2 styles really works for these guys. Ben Cumberland looking good as he gets to the bottom of that cut. 11.78 and a 12.18 personal best for Jack Jordan. And that puts Ben Cumberland in 2nd place, just behind Nate Hodges, and Jack Jordan in 4th place. So that will give Ben Cumberland the overall top spot with 45 points, 4 points ahead of Jack Jordan at the moment. So he's on pace to do well here.
We should remember, though, those times were unofficial to start with, because you see what's just happened again now. Times readjusted, 11.57. Ben Cumberland taking out that single saw. You just get so excited for it.
Congratulations!
I can't help it. It's just amazing. So Jack Jordan with a fantastic personal best, 11.89. Ben Cumberland with an 11.57. It looks like they're going to hold Ben Cumberland on stage for a quick interview afterwards. I don't know if that's the case, but we'll find out shortly. And we'll take a look back at the slow-mos here.
Absolutely, and Ben Cumberland just putting it on an absolute clinic. But Jack Jordan, not traditionally known as a single Sawyer, but he's just such an athlete. 6'5", 230 pounds, like he's a mountain of a man. But Ben Cumberland, just an absolute technician in every single event. I've told it to people before, if you were to show somebody a how-to of how to be a timber sports athlete, I would show them videos of Ben Cumberland in every single event. And he shows you exactly why here. Just running that Mercier saw, Canadian made, just to its absolute potential. Just a slight hang there on his first one, but he didn't let it rattle him. He kept powering through every single stroke. Just a beautiful cut from our Canadian champion there.
Calm, cool, and collected.
Absolutely.
Just like you said, maybe those 90–95% of the possible speed will put you right up on top, collecting those points, valuable points, putting him into the leads after this discipline. And yeah, he must be very happy with that. And we're going to hear what he has to say in just a moment live on stage. Well done.
Congratulations for this hit. You were so close to beat your world record, but you win this hit. How was the crowd?
Merci beaucoup, Toulouse. En français un peu.
Il parle français un peu.
Bah merci beaucoup.
You know that the competition is really tough. How did you prepare this competition? Because it's really tough with good athletes.
So a lot of my preparation was playing with my son Leo and my daughter Rhiannon at home. I know they're watching this right now. Love you guys, love you Steph. My parents are here, they're up in that corner there with the rest of the Canadian contingency. It was, I've been really blessed at this sport. God has really given me a gift and talent for this sport, and I just have tried to utilize it the best as I can. All the glory to Jesus Christ for the strength that is in me.
Vous l'avez compris, hein, il fait un petit coucou à sa fille devant la télé et également à sa femme et à ses parents qui sont là-bas. Et donc en fait, il a préparé cette compétition pour essayer d'être vraiment le meilleur possible. And now, what's next?
One event at a time for me. I'm very thankful for the cut that was there. Bart, I trust you on that one. Good job, thank you. But yeah, the wood has been phenomenal today, and the competition is incredible. The crowd is amazing. Thank you very much, Toulouse.
Allez, il va aller à la suite, il va voir ce qui va se passer à la suite. Il remercie d'ailleurs les personnes qui s'occupent de toute l'installation du bois. Et il vous remercie encore une fois à vous tous et tous, mesdames et messieurs, Ben Cumberland!
All right, so at the moment, we're going to jump out to get the overall results. But first, we're going to take a look at the results of the single buck here before we move on to take a look at the overall results and how that's going to change the situation for us as well, because we're coming up to the next discipline, which is the springboard, which for me, I mean, they call the hot saw the maker or breaker. But for me, the springboard is a bit like that as well. But let's talk about that in a second. We'll take a look at the rankings.
So here we have it officially. Ben Cumberland winning that single buck in a time of 11.57. Nate Hodges doing a great job. And that's the overall standings at the moment. Sterling, any surprises for you?
I mean, no surprises necessarily, but the tail of the tape showing us here, the cream is starting to rise to the top. You see Ben Cumberland taking a 4-point lead over Jack Jordan. But both of those guys starting to separate themselves from the field, and both of those guys are also two of the best springboard cutters in the world as well. So it's not what the rest of the field's going to want, is letting those guys get away from them going into another strong event of theirs. But look for Nate Hodges to make a push in this springboard as well.
Troy already talked about it, the springboard. That's something you're very much looking forward to. Yes. And all you need to know about the springboard, well, of course, we have a video explaining everything.
Of course.
Springboard. Springboard simulates the traditional way of felling trees, climbing up over thick roots. First, notches known as pockets are chopped into the log. 2 springboards are then anchored into these pockets. The athlete then climbs up to chop through a 27-centimeter thick block of wood in the fastest time possible.
So there we have the 4 heats. Michael Dubitsky against Redmer Knoll. Then Ferry Svan taking on Nate Hodges, followed by Koen Martins and Kody Steers. And in heat number 4, it's Jack Jordan versus Ben Cumberland, the top 2 at the moment. So, wow, getting ready for another big competition. And the first to come on stage, Michael Dubitsky and Redmer Knoll.
And buddy, Sterling, your record stood from 2016 until last year when Walt Page managed to break it at the American Championship. That's got to hurt a little bit, but you also should be very proud about that incredible world record. And I remember seeing you on the top there, holding onto the axe, the block still attached to the axe. Yeah!
Yeah, you know, that was one of the best cuts of my career, but I said it from the moment I did that. I thought I could have cut that a few seconds quicker, and I knew that record was going to fall. And yeah, Walter Page of the USA, the current world record holder, but one of the training partners out west there of Walter Page is Nate Hodges. So we'll see down the road here, but right now we've got Redmer and Michael Dubitsky, 2 of Europe's best springboard cutters, going head to head here right now, and it's go time for both of these guys if they want to pick up enough points to move ahead and get the chance to run their hot saws and go for a world championship.
Now, you taught me that a 4-pocket hit is, or a 4-hit pocket is optimal. Get the board in, get up. 4-hit pocket, get the board and get up and start working on that top block.
Okay, gentlemen.
This is won or lost in the pockets, isn't
Athletes,
it?
ready!
It's,
Stand
you need a good
to your
foundation to build a
timber.
good house.
3, 2, 1, go!
So we're not going to get that out of these athletes, but they're having the mindset to put in, take the extra hits, and it's a good board from Redmer, and he's going to look to get a good foundation because, you know, the event's not even halfway done. These guys got to get up there still, and they got to cut 3/4 of the way through that block on one side, turn around, and switch hit it like a baseball player and finish it off, and that's a good board from Redmer. He's got to be happy with that, and now he knows if he's going to make a push for that hot saw, now's the time he's got to go.
He's got to do it.
And he didn't like that discipline for very, very long.
Yeah, he was a hater on this one, but he's become very good at it. Dubitsky on top of that board. You could see that springboard action really working for Dubitsky. Redmer Cole's got a really nice board. He could step back on that board even more if he wanted to, I think, but confidence is not there for him as they're just coming up to the moment. Oh, wow, Michael Dubitsky with a 55.06, a great cut for him getting up there behind Redmer Knoll. Redmer cutting with his upper body here. He's not.
Redmer's got to be careful here. The block is actually split on him, so he's had to go around a hit or two sooner than he may have liked. He's got a little bit of homework left there to do. He's not going to be super happy with that cut, and you can see it on his face.
He still gets a personal best out of it, though.
He does get a personal best. So where you saw the difference there was, again, the speed. Michael Dubitsky almost putting in 2 hits to 1 for Redmer Cole. There you see the sportsmanship between these 2 European athletes. Michael Dubitsky going to be very happy with his cut, I think. We'll see if it's enough to power him through to the next round. And, you know, he was behind. He was behind getting up on top there, but just the absolute speed and power. And for a man that big to be that agile, you know, 2 meters off the ground is very, very impressive.
Okay,
well, this is something I was mentioning about the Austrian Hermann Heiligebrunner. He was up and cutting so well in the Austrian Nationals a couple of years ago that I was absolutely amazed. For a big man, he moves quick and agile.
As we take a look back here at the replays and see if we can dissect this and unpack what happened for both of these athletes in this springboard as the
I think that Redmer had 2 6-hit pockets there, so he got up fairly well. And you mentioned his boards were really good.
Absolutely, and that's what you're looking to do is put a solid base in, and that's where the experience of these world-class competitors come in. As we were talking about, a 4-hit pocket is technically the best you can do. But where you'll see a lot of younger competitors or inexperienced competitors make the mistake is they'll do that 4 hits and they'll just try and go. And so you see the board sagging just a little bit for Michael Dubitsky. And what that does in his mind is he knows he doesn't want to have a board sagging like that when he gets up to the top, because he's got to be up there and put a bit of work in, right? Like, these guys start off cutting standing block on the ground, but now you're doing it 2 meters in the air off a board that springs a little bit. And so just the efficiency of the hits. Michael Dubitsky, not the most accurate hitter on this, but just so much power and so much speed.
And
2 hits on the
here as well.
Absolutely, 2 hits on the back is all it took him. And that's a huge thing as well, is doing enough homework on the front so that when you turn around, being able to take just 2 hits, because where you'll see a lot of guys actually hang up is when they're on the backside, because they're cutting switch, right? They're not, this is not their dominant hand that they're driving off on, so you'll see a lot of guys hang up. So that shows me that Mikael Dubicki has put a lot of training into this, into the off season. And, you know, we saw it pay off there for him. So he's also an extremely talented hot saw operator. So what he's hoping for is that springboard time is going to be enough to push him through and give him a chance to go for an overall title as we, but you know, Heat 2.
He's in there under a minute, so Heat 2 between Ferry Svan and Nate Hodges is going to be very interesting.
Absolutely. Now Ferry Svan, you know, this was one of his best events right from the start. It's always been a good one for him. So, you know, in timber sports, a lot of the guys traditionally were always big competitors. And I used to work a lot with Ferry Svan because we had similar builds. You know, we didn't have the power to necessarily of a Mikael Dubicki or a Kody Steers, but you had to make the most of the technique, right? And so Ferry Svan, just an absolute technician in every single event. So I'd be looking for both of these guys to be putting up I would say sub 50 times. They're both capable of it, and both of them are capable of cutting close to that world record time. So, you know, the wood's coming out good, and we actually heard earlier, I was attending the athletes meeting this morning, and the guy that obtains the wood from here in France, Bart Jansen, actually mentioned to the competitors that the springboard poles were actually a firmer variety of poplar than the blocks up top. And what that does is that it enables the wood to come out, it's a little bit chippier, and also when you put the boards in, because the wood is firmer, it's going to give you a better base to stand on. And that's what we call a fast pole, right? So, you know, we've got the perfect storm here for a world record to be broken. You've got fast poles, you've got good wood up top. Like, I think there'll be a 30-second cut coming up here in some of these next heats.
And we've got a great stage crew that we just saw preparing everything for the athletes.
Yeah, sometimes these stage changes can take up to a half an hour, but they really got this down to a science here for the World Championship. Ferry Svan holding the national record at 46.71. Nate Hodges 41.26 is his personal best.
And that's his personal best on national and international timber sports events.
New springboards for Ferry Svan as well. Haven't seen these before.
Yeah, well, those have been crafted by Ferry Svan. Excellent. They're actually like a distributor and a manufacturer of aluminum products, and they said, hey, can we try and innovate some gear for you? Now, it's not something you'd want to be buying over and over again. They put a lot of research and development. They built them, rebuilt them out of aluminum, and what that does is it gives you more structure to your board. They call it springboards because you'll see those wooden ones actually do flex. Ferry Svan's boards do not flex.
Yeah, what they wouldn't be able to with that bridge setup.
Well, exactly. It gives you a firm base to chop off, enabling you to generate a little bit more power and have more balance.
Gentlemen.
And he already used them at the Swedish Nationals, so he must be already used to them.
Your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
All right, the guys get into it to try and get those perfect pockets set up. Ferry Svan was quick with that first board, gets up there. Oh, yeah. Look at that thing, barely moves at all. Oh, a little bit of sag for Ferry Svan as that nose starts to bite in. Nate Hodges getting that board in place on number 2, and he is up and about and ready to go. A little bit of sag on that board, so he's probably going to want to be in a bit closer to the tree itself as Ferry gets up there, and he's got a nice second board as well. And now Ferry Svan will get started on that top block here. And you can see absolutely correct what you said there, Sterling. That thing is not moving at all. Stable as can be. Hodges is on the second side of his board, block at the top, though, with a bit of a saggy board. Doesn't care at all. 43.01 is Nate Hodges' time. That puts him in the top spot. Ferry Svan getting close to it here. Oh, he's got a bit of a sticky one on that side. And he is really struggling to get that thing done. And he finally does it in 59.55, just shy of the 1 minute mark, which will put him down in third place. There will be adjustments, though, yeah.
There will be adjustments, and, you know, not the best cuts that those two guys were capable of. You saw Nate. Nate had to put an extra hit in his top pocket. But it wasn't, he needed just a little bit more. He might have rushed it just a little bit, didn't have the angle. So you saw the sag on that board, and he still cut 42.7 seconds after the adjustment. But, you know, what he could have done if everything had gone to plan on those boards as we get the call from Judge Andy Hall.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
Both cuts are good. You see the head nod, both of them knowing it's not exactly what they needed. It's enough for first place right now, but you've got a few more amazing springboard cutters coming up in the next few heats here.
Yeah, 2 more heats to go with Koen Martens, Kody Steers, Jack Jordan, and Ben Cumberland. And let's take a look back at the slow-mos here.
Absolutely. Now, Ferry went a little bit narrow here. You can see he didn't quite leave himself enough room, whereas this looks like Nate Hodges, a perfect 4-hit pocket, and that's exactly, but see those little, man, we are all over the place, aren't we? So, up on this top board, and now, you know, he thought he had a top board, but when I saw him jump on that, you saw it shift just a tiny bit, and if that board comes out of the pocket, even by half a centimeter, it's gonna change the angle of that board, right? And now once he's up there, if you don't have a good platform to work on, you just, you know, I bet you he lost a good 8-9 seconds because of that top board there,
Think
right?
it's that much?
Absolutely, because you're off balance, and it just makes everything more difficult. Now, Ferry Svan, what I think happened to him, that uncharacteristic slow time, once he got up top, I don't think he opened up enough wood. It looked like he hit his mark, so I don't know if he had another plan in mind. But, you know, he had to take a few extra hits once to get up there, but he did have a good board. But once he was up there...
It felt like he had a perfect board.
He had a perfect angled board.
But he had a lot of hits for that pocket.
But he didn't open enough wood, right? You can see here, he's already starting to run out of real estate on there. And so he had to turn around before he was ready. He was probably just over halfway. And although he's a very efficient at cutting on the backside of the block, it's still not your dominant hand. Right? We saw Michael Dubicki in one of the first heats, 2 hits and off. Where here we saw Ferry, he probably took over 10 hits on the backside, and each of those hits is going to be slower than something on your dominant side. So, you know, just a few little unfortunate mishaps.
Rachel, de quelques instants parce qu'on a un trophée à vous présenter, vous l'avez vu, il est ici, ce trophée des championnats du monde ici à Toulouse 2024 de STIHL TIMBERSPORTS, ce trophée qui a été fabriqué par Robert Pieringer. Il est d'Autriche, il est dans la salle, Robert, je ne sais pas où vous êtes, mais en tout cas vous pouvez l'applaudir parce qu'il est juste magnifique. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the trophy of the STIHL TIMBERSPORTS World Championship 2024 for the individual competition. He was built by Robert Beringer. He's coming from Austria, and Robert built every trophy from the beginning, I think. And so, mesdames et messieurs, merci encore d'applaudir parce qu'il est juste magnifique. This trophy, I'm sorry, is just amazing. It's just beautiful. Congratulations, Robert Beringer. You can make some noise for him, please.
All right, as we get ready for our next heat pairing coming out on stage, it will be Koen Martens going up against Kody Steers. I'd be really curious to know how Kody Steers does in this discipline as a bigger man.
He is a bigger man, but he is an absolute talent of an axeman, an absolute technician. Yeah. You know, that's the thing with these Aussie and these Kiwi cutters. Like, they cut so many more blocks down under that their axemanship is just off the charts as we see the tail of the tape here in this heat 3 of our springboard chop.
49.19 personal best for Kody, national record for Koen Martens at a 52.54. As the boys are starting to get numb over here.
Absolutely. Sometimes you just got to give them a bit of room to operate, you know, and that'll loosen up these boys.
And I love those rituals. Every single athlete seems to have their very own style when they go to the springboard.
And it's the rituals also, that routine that makes it, you know, it gives you the opportunity to make sure you feel absolutely on point with what you want to do on stage, and you don't have to think about anything other than the job that's at hand. This is a big springboards for Kody Steers. They're very wide.
And
He's
as
a
we're
big
talking about
boy. We
those
call
rituals,
those dance floors, but what that enables him to do is actually kind of walk the block a little bit and cut it more efficiently.
Okay, gentlemen.
you see Kody knocking on the wood with the back of his axe. Does he always do
your
that?
timber.
We'll talk about
3,
that a little bit more
2,
afterwards.
1,
It's definitely
go.
not easy.
Okay.
4-hit pocket for Kody Steers. He's in. Up on that first board. That's looking good. That's a 6-hit pocket
Steers,
so
a couple
far.
of mishits here.
Oh yeah,
That's
he's
not
working
good.
hard. Koen Martin's getting that second board in place now. Koen Martin's up on top at 25-second mark. Kody Steers joining him. So both of these guys are pushing each other. Koen Martin's looking very good on the block so far, up on the top. Let's see how he cuts away. Kody Steers got that back foot way out at the back end of the board. That's a good thing for him as well.
I think Koen Martin's starting to pull ahead of the Australian axeman here. Let's see if he can do all his homework on the front. Koen first to make that turn. Cody's not going to be far behind him, though. Both guys going for a little bit of a misstep there from Koen. Can Kody track him down? Both these.
Koen Martin's 58.98. Kody Steers 59.57. Fantastic cuts from both of these guys.
What's he got in store for us?
Yeah.
He's flexing. You don't see it, unfortunately, folks, because the camera went away from it, but we did see in our split screen that Koen Martins was pulling the monkey flex on top of that board.
Pose. Yes, indeed.
Kody Steers, yeah, that top pocket. You know, he had the presence of mind to take a few extra hits and make sure it's good, but he ended up putting at least 8 hits in that top pocket. You can see the scarf he's put in that thing up top. You know, and once you've done that, it kind of does rattle you inside, because now you know you're a little bit behind. So mentally you're, oh, can I make that time up top? And, you know, sometimes that doesn't pay off.
It's a time of his life.
Hey, every single time is a time of his life.
Okay,
that man lives for the moment. It's awesome.
Both cuts are good.
And those big competitions.
Yeah.
You know, that's not what Kody Steers needed to have happen for him there. As you know, Ben Cumberland and Jack Jordan were already starting to separate from the field a little bit, starting to pull away from him, and you know, he really needed that cut to go well for him, and it just didn't go exactly how he'd planned. So Kody, he put in an absolute clinic. Both of them did on their bottom pockets. As you see, those 4-hit pockets, both of them bored in, technically perfect. The big man climbing up on top there. And then, you know, the springboard, putting those pockets in, it's all about accuracy. It's nothing to do with power, nothing to do with speed. And if you miss one hit while you're putting those pockets in, it is extremely difficult to get the structure of that pocket back, enable you to get up there and have a good base. So you see both of them do have good boards once they're up there, and Koen Martins has just put so much time into this, and yeah, for him to come off ahead of Kody Steers in a chopping event, that's that's big for Koen. That's absolutely a huge milestone for him. And no matter what happens in the rest of the competition, you know, what that does, that gives you confidence. You know, if he doesn't, for some reason, move ahead into the next rounds or move into the hot saw, like, you know you're right there with the best in the world, and there we get to see it. King Kong on the Eiffel Tower.
Having fun with the audience.
King Kong on Metropole in Toulouse, huh?
Love that guy's beard there in the front row with the red shirt. Red, white, and blue. Or blue, white, and red.
Oh, we got some crazy fans in the arena.
Yeah, they love it. They love it. And it's a full house.
Understandably. I mean, this is one of the closest competitions I've seen in years.
Yeah, it's definitely heating up. You've got Nate Hodges sitting within a, you know, nearly a 12-second lead right now in this springboard, and that's going to really vault him up the standings if he can manage to maintain that lead. But, you know, he's got Jack Jordan and Ben Cumberland, 2 of the best woodchoppers on this planet, and both extremely talented springboard cutters. But, you know, we haven't seen any great springboard cuts yet.
Nope.
We've seen you know, we've seen guys do what they need to do, but we haven't seen any lightning in the bottle yet. But,
should also remind everybody that after this discipline, we'll be losing 2 additional athletes from our list of 8, and we'll go down to 6 going into that hot sauce. So, you know, there's a couple of guys that are on the bubble, especially given that Jack Jordan and Ben Cumberland are still to cut.
Absolutely,
and Jack definitely wants to do better than last year. He was not too happy with his springboard in 2023.
No, it cost him all kinds of time, energy, and yeah, last year. So he's going to be looking for redemption. And Ben, again, just an absolute technician in this event. He's worked a lot on his springboard over the last couple of years. You know, like in Canada, we've always had a bit of a tradition of really strong springboard cutters, and what that's done is it's brought the level of everybody in our country up on the springboard. And you know, now that it's worth double points here, and Ben coming away with a win in that single saw, he just needs to put forth a solid cut, and he'll be sitting pretty close to the top of our leaderboard with just one event to go.
All right, Jack Jordan, his personal best time is, I would say, for the level of skill here, atrocious. Ben Cumberland, on the other hand, a 46.09. That's a very respectable time, but we know that Jack Jordan is no slouch, and he's definitely been working on this because, you know, we know these guys, they see their weaknesses, and that's the one thing that they tend to focus on to make sure that they are on point when it comes down to competition time. So I expect that Jack's probably going to be under a minute in this cut here, hopefully today.
Yeah, absolutely, you know, and yeah, Jack Jordan is his personal best at the moment is a 1:22, but I assume that's his time from last year here at the World Championships, and that's not. He has got the potential to cut sub 50 seconds. So
I think he was 7th place last year at the World Championships. Not exactly
anything other than first for Jack Jordan.
Yeah,
He's a three-time champion in the Champions Trophy.
Okay,
looking to take home
gentlemen.
his first World Championship here.
Athletes, ready! Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
That's a 4-hit pocket there for Ben. Got a board in, and he is up on that first board quickly like a cat. Jack Jordan joining him.
Jack Jordan in a bit of trouble here again on that top pocket. Let's see what he's got. Ben's got a good board. He's up in 22 seconds. He's got this springboard event in his sights. Let's see if he can keep the power on here.
He's feeling confident on that board with that back foot right out of the backside, able to put a lot of pressure into those hits on the top there, looking very clean as he should be switching over to the backside in that awkward angle I like to call. And he actually switches hands ambidextrous style onto that second side. Jack Jordan doing the same thing on the other side. Jack Jordan might get this one on. Oh! Holy smokes, folks. 50-15 to 50-08. How close was that? And like I said, there's that personal best out the window for Jack Jordan. Well done for the Kiwi. Fantastic job by him. And I told you, he's been working on that, and he looked great.
Absolutely, and again, both those times unofficial, but either way, that's going to vault both of these guys to the top of the leaderboard, or very close to it, moving on to that last event. And you know, those were just technically beautiful cuts from both of those axemen as the judges have a look over those blocks, make sure there's no infractions. Everybody seems pretty happy.
And Jack Jordan getting up there with that standing block up there at the top, basically, you know, if he gets a good board and he can really work the power that he's got in those legs in his core and his upper body, there's no stopping him.
Okay,
Thumbs up to the
congratulations.
audience.
Both cuts are good.
A great sportsmanship right after the end of that heat.
49-7-1, 49-8-2. So they have given the edge there to Ben Cumberland in that, and so that's huge. That's huge going into that last event.
Very
him getting those
points,
2 points over Jack Jordan and extending his lead a little bit.
Yeah, up to 6 points now.
Yeah, as we take a look back here. I know Ben put in a perfect 4-hit pocket on the bottom. Jack took a couple extras, but beautiful board placement no matter what. And we can see on the graphic here, you would love it. It was great. But yeah, there was a couple of mishits. We'll talk about it forever. But yeah, there was a couple of mishits for Jack Jordan on his top pocket. He ended up putting about 8 hits in, and that put him behind the 8 ball a little bit. And And Jack, he just doesn't look as settled. But you
No,
can see a couple of
a
mishits
little bit of
from,
shakiness on the top there.
Absolutely. You see a couple of mishits, uncharacteristic from Ben there, but both these guys, I think, are just going to be happy to get that event out of the way. And
that being second and third, so not too bad.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Nate Hodges has a redeeming run there.
And he definitely needed those points.
He
for the
did need
overall
those
standing.
points, absolutely. Watch out,
Still
cameraman.
in the mix.
Wood flying your way.
Things are heating up.
You can
Things
say
are
that
heating
again.
up.
You can say that again.
All right, springboard result, Nate Hodges with the fastest time of 42.73, but Ben Cumberland and Jack Jordan right there in the mix with a 49.71 and 49.82. And Jack Jordan's personal best was great for him, but look at what it's done to the overall standings.
Like mentioned, 6 points lead for Ben Cumberland. Jack Jordan in second place with 55 points. And Nate's still there in the mix with 52. I think that's the top three. That
big jump up for him as well.
And that's
yeah?
definitely all the positives that we took away. But, you know, as we talked about, we're unfortunately going to have to say goodbye to a couple athletes, I think.
Yeah, and let's take a look at who those are going to be here. I think we know that it's Koen Martens and Red McConnell are going to be dropping out of the competition here as we take only 6 athletes into the hot saw as we look at the single buck and springboard and then the
still
hot
in
saw.
there. Ferry, Svan making it. Cody Steers, of course, but the top 3, Nate Hodges, Jack Jordan, and Ben Cumberland. I think these 3 are going to be fighting for gold, fighting for the crown.
That's
and
the points difference there, isn't it?
And Sterling can't sit anymore. He's way too excited.
No, I mean, I'm literally sweating. I cut every single swing of every single block all those guys did. And
but you must be pretty pleased with your Canadian friends.
Oh, absolutely. Like Ben Cumberland, you know, he had a disappointing run last year, but you know, this year he's definitely shown redemption.
Yeah, he's on pace for it today, and I mean, he has shown a calm, cool, collected attitude from the walkout. You mentioned it, Floaty, you know, thumbs in his pockets. He hitched his way to the stage, and basically from that point on, he's just been relaxed and on an even keel throughout the whole thing. And we can hear in the background the rumbling of those hot saws as they warm them up here in the paddocks behind us, making it a little bit difficult to hear ourselves think.
That's actually pretty cool because I can't hear you and I can hear the saws.
Yeah. What did you just say?
Even more exciting. Wow.
But that's the sound of the hounds about to be released.
Yes.
As soon as you hear, as a competitor, the minute you hear, like, I got goosebumps. I don't know if you can see that or not.
I can see them there.
Because the minute you hear those hot saws go, this is it. So these guys that are moving into this final event now, this is everything that they have worked for, thought about the last 364 days. Ben Cumberland has had all year long to think about his disappointments from last season, and now all his hard work is paid off. He has put himself firmly in the driver's position for his first World Championship ever. Like, and you know, he's done it all, and yeah, you hear those hot saws firing up.
I hope you can hear it at home because this is getting
so
really,
loud.
really loud.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
And right now, Ben Cumberland has a 6-point lead on Jack Jordan, who is sitting in second place with 55 points, 61 for Ben Cumberland. So he's solidly on the top spot. Basically, what he needs to do is have a clean cut in the hot saw, no problems, no DQ, and it should be, I wouldn't say an easy run for him, but it'll be a much better pace. But I think because of his position now, he'll also cut last.
Yep.
So that means that he gets to watch everybody else's cut, and he can make a decision on how he reacts from that point, which is an advantage for him.
Right, and that's where the assistants really come into play here. And you're watching the score sheet as each round goes by on the hot saw. You're looking at exactly what you need to do to take home whatever place it is. You know, some of these athletes will be put into place just trying to get a podium.
Yep.
Others looking for the gold as we take a look here, I think, shortly.
Yeah, and just behind Troy, we can have a closer look at the guys warming up the hot sauce. This is just round the corner.
Look at those beasts. We've actually got one here in studio. I don't know if our camera can swing down to that. You could see this monster over here next to us.
Why don't you just lift it up and show us?
No, I can't lift it up. I'll ruin my back even worse from the sitting in these funky chairs that we've got here.
Yeah, these hot sauce, they are beasts. They are machines. We talked about it in Instagram Live. Maybe you can tell us again how these are produced, how these are made, because each and every single one of them is unique.
Absolutely, you know, and this is not something, unfortunately, you can just run down to your local still dealer and pick one up for a few bucks. As we take a look here at Kody steers, the majority of these hot saws, they have been modified, obviously, greatly. The majority of these, at one point, were CR250 dirt bike engines. The majority of these were dirt bikes at one point, and everything has been ported, polished, modified. The engines have been sent away to get dynoed so they can develop the perfect muffler that will get the absolute most out of these engines. And you see the chains and the bars on these, each of those loops of chain. They're like, one of the biggest things that doesn't get talked about is the actual chainsaw chain on there. It's a special tooth that still is actually brought back into production specifically for our STIHL Timbersports athletes. Until they brought that chain back into production, there was none of this chain left. One single loop to make one chain for these hot saws was going for nearly $1,000 US.
Wow, that's crazy. The prices for these machines just keeps getting higher and higher, and I think we're at around, what, 15,000 for a machine now, or around that?
For a winning saw, you're looking anywhere between $12,000 and $15,000.
That's madness.
Well, and having said that, we of course have a video for you guys at home to explain everything you know about the hot saw. Here we go.
These custom handmade race-tuned machines are built for maximum power and precision and to cut the wood as fast as possible in a competition. They are built with a 60 to 80 horsepower single-cylinder two-stroke engine, often taken from a snowmobile or high-powered motorbike. The hot saw can weigh up to 30 kilograms and its chain rotates at over 250 kilometers an hour. The cost of a competition hot saw used in STIHL Timbersports is upward of 6,000 euros.
Crunch time. We are ready for the top 6 at this year's World Championship.
Hot saw. For the hot saw, power saws are called into action and the athletes have a space of 15 centimeters to cut 3 complete discs off a 46 centimeter thick wooden block. Jumping the start or cutting over the line will result in a disqualification.
Now that gives us a chance to take a closer look at the starting list. Of course, they're going to go one by one now, and in heat number 1, we'll see Michal Dubitsky, followed by Ferry, Svan, then Kody Steers, then the top 3, Nate Hodges, Jack Jordan, and Van Cumberland. Off we go.
There's a handsome crew of dudes right there.
Not sure.
All right, so...
don't blink now, because this is going to go fast.
Michal Dubitsky holds the national record at 6.42. The hot saw world record currently at 4.62. That's held by Adam Lethko from the USA. I do believe he took that last year. No, wait a minute. Let me check my data here. Yeah, in 2022 he took that at the U.S. Championship. So, yeah, and these are very finicky machines, aren't they, Sterling?
You could say that.
Yeah.
That's a kind way of saying
Absolutely. And I put money on the fact that Adam Lethko is probably watching this right now. Anybody that has ever had a world record always tunes in, at least for their event, just to make sure that record is safe, you know, for at least one more year. And there is a couple guys coming up on this stage that are capable of taking that world record down. But it becomes a game of strategy now, because you know, you're trying to achieve the best position possible here, whether that's a podium or whether that's a win, right? And so somebody like Michal Dubitsky is further down the list.
30-second warning!
He's got nothing to lose here, so I'd expect him to, like, what we call go for it.
Yeah.
You know, he's going to fire that thing up, probably not come off the throttle till he's got 3 cuts on the deck, and that can either get you a winning time or can end an absolute disaster. So we're nearing the end of the warm-up here.
We've seen it all. We've seen it all in the hot saw.
We will see our first heat of the hot saw here at the 2024 Stihl Timbersports World Championship.
Athlete
Toulouse,
ready! Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Whoa! A little bit chunky on that upcut. A 6.83 for Mika Dubitsky. And he takes a quick look to make sure he hasn't cut over the line with a couple of fairly significant cookies there. They've only got 15 centimeters to cut those 3 cookies from, so that's a lot of action happening in a little bit of space.
But one thing is for sure, he's not going to be having a seat in a hot seat for the moment.
No, not in the hot seat, but what that time does right now currently, as I look on my screen here, is that puts him in bronze medal position. So, you know, that's about as good as he could have done right now, but, you know,
true.
Still with 5 heats to go. Anything can happen.
Congratulations, right? The cut is good.
Vicky, that might be the last time we see him today. That was a, you know, he went up and he cut pretty close to his personal best, you know, so there's not much more that he could have done. You saw the saw did have a little bit of a burp in there, like obviously this machine's being highly modified. Beautiful start into the wood, exactly how he'd like. And that saw, you see it fighting them a little bit. These things just, they have so much torque. On the way up, it actually pushed him back a little bit. You'll see these guys are all wearing spikes on their shoes because these saws have so, and Michael Dubicki is he's a large man, about 150 kilos, you know, that's a lot of meat. And so you can imagine the power that saw has to push that man back off his feet. And same thing down, he kind of smacked the wood a little bit. And so when you smack the wood, it kind of makes the chain hop a little bit, right? And
tag the floor as well.
Oh, and that up there, if he did tag the floor, there's a bit of a grit on that floor. That's about a $500 mistake right there from Michael Dubicki. Those chains, a good hot saw chain, as I was saying, used to cost about $1,000 US. It's down now, but the bigger factor is filing it. A really good hot saw chain, you're putting anywhere from 20 up to 50 hours of hand filing a chain. And I know that Ferry Svan is, he's had a chain filed by USA teammate Jason Lentz's dad, Melvin Lentz, the former king of the Lumberjacks, former US champion, is known to be one of the best chain filers in the world. And Ferry Svan's hot saw there, a 330, was actually built by my business partner, Leo Kudrow. That saw right there was built in my living room.
That's crazy.
Absolutely, and I believe at one time it was the fastest saw in Europe. I'm not sure if he still holds that or not. So.
Final adjustments.
Yeah, well, you can see him spraying a little bit of fuel into that carburetor. He said these things are highly modified, so that's what enables that saw to fire on the first pull. He's trying to get that thing up to operating temperature, let it what we call clearing out. You know, you want to hear that engine absolutely singing. As soon as the judges say, give them their warm-up, they're allowed 1 minute to warm that saw up, at which point now you see him going through his motions. Every athlete has their own preparations. He's got to rewrap that pull cord. He's got to attach a cable to it so like that when he throws that pull cable, it doesn't get away from him.
30-second warning. In death position right there on the other side of that Lexon shield. So
he's a brave man.
Brave man. Boomer does it all on ice skates, lying down underneath crazy situations and being in front of the chain of a hot saw.
Yeah, he sees Ferry having a few words to himself. He knows this is go time now. He's got nothing to lose. Let it all hang out.
Watch that lower back or the right hand. It'll swing back. It's for whatever reason, it's a tick of his. The hand swings back, and then it'll come back forward on
Athlete,
at one
ready!
point here.
Stand to your timber.
No, maybe not.
3, 2, 1, go!
Beautiful start.
Wow, really nice looking cut.
He's got
Ferry
it.
Swan.
Whoa!
Oh, yes,
5-4-2.
3 on the deck, as you like to say, and that is a good cut for
well
Ferry
done.
Swan. So that puts him in second place currently.
Second place overall, but first place currently with an adjusted, it looks like 5-3-5. A great, great time for Ferry Svan.
Yeah, he's happy with that cut.
Congratulations, the cut is good.
Must be happy about it.
every single timber sports athlete dreams of doing that. Getting a chance, you know, you've spent your 10, 15 grand, whatever it is that we charged him to ship that over there. They put all that time and energy and training into the chain. He's done his own modifications to this saw. Getting the chance to get up there, having a position to go for it.
For just over 5 seconds of fame.
But Matt, hanging on to that 60 horsepower and getting to just absolutely unleash it, there is nothing like that.
Nice accurate cuts for him as well. Really on point.
Absolutely technically perfect. There is not much more that he could have done.
Wow.
Yeah, beautiful transition into his last disc, nice and thin, and look at all the real estate he's got left. That was a beautiful cut. Absolutely beautiful cut from Ferry Svan. He will be happy with that. Might not be happy with everything he did today.
Yeah, but it's a great end to the competition.
Ending your day on a high note, that's what you want to do.
And he's such a nice guy.
From experience, I would much rather have had kind of a poor day all day and then have a great end to it than have a great day all day.
I'm with you, yeah.
And have a very poor hot saw run. Really hard to look cool after you do that.
Yeah.
All right, so currently Ferry Svan sitting atop the hot saw results with a 5.35, just ahead of Mika Dubitsky, who has a 6.69. And that puts Ferry Svan in second place in the overall standings for the moment. We still do have 4 more athletes still to cut. Kody Steers will be coming onto stage next.
He's also not capable of winning this tonight. But of course, he's going to try and get into one of the top positions to be able to maybe claim silver or bronze tonight.
I mean, for Kody Steers, just getting on the podium, it would be definitely a win for him.
Kody Steers, a very, very capable hot saw operator. Going through his last checks here.
Okay, warm up your saw.
Uh-oh.
And that is not what you want to see happen. Keep in mind, they have a minute. They have a minute to get that saw started.
All good, but stay calm
Nothing
in
to
that
panic,
situation.
nothing to panic. We've seen his fellow countrymen in the past, Braden Meyer, have a similar situation. And he was able to pull through.
That actually happened the year that Braden Meyer won the World Championship title. His saw didn't start. He went back, restarted, had a clean cut because he was so far in the lead. Didn't matter. He just needed to have 3 on the deck without a DQ.
But what that does do is it just kind of rattles you. It just rattles you that little bit, right? And you're just not quite settled now. You're in a rush. And the one thing you don't want to be doing is you don't want to be rushing, getting ready. You want to have that, like, even if it's just 5 seconds, to just collect yourself and be ready for it here. So he's having to hustle a little bit. But, you know, if anybody can handle the pressure here, Kody Steers of Australia is definitely the man to do it.
And let's be honest, he's had a fantastic day for his very first outing at the individual World Championships.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, he got it going. Whoa. A little bit of a hiccup in the middle there, but that's a 5.87, a PB for Kody Steers. A fantastic cut for him, and that is a great job. That puts him in second place at the moment, pushing Ferry Svan into the bronze medal position as our judges are taking a very close look at his cuts now.
We'll make sure those are the official times. Kody Steers letting the adrenaline get to him. He's not quite sure where he is right now.
Let me out of here.
Congratulations, the cut is good.
Right there, that's a wave of relief.
Yeah, obviously Kody Steers came in here with the ambitions of a gold medal. He's not quite going to achieve that this year. He's sitting in second place right now, but he's only got a 2-point lead over Jack Jordan, who's still yet to go, and we've still got some good hot saw operators to come still. So we take a look back here. Beautiful start.
Oh, thin.
And I couldn't quite see it from here, but it also looked like he may have kind of just tagged that deck a little bit. I'll say, you can always tell the guys that don't file their own chains. Those are the ones that tend to hit the deck. Because they don't know quite how long they'll go. But whoever filed that chain is just like, oh, awesome.
He's already sending him text messages.
Absolutely.
Oh, I love that view. That's brilliant. Oh, the power of that machine.
That is a cool shot. One little thing on the side, too. You'll see a lot of these competitors wearing a back brace. Now, they wear that. It's not because they have back problems or because the saws are heavy. The way these saws are designed, they're an open carburetor, right? There is nothing, there's no air filter, there's nothing covering that carburetor. And you'll see when they go to warm it up, they actually do spray a little bit of fuel in there.
Yeah.
But because that is open, right, it's sucking air in. That's how the engine works. That's where all the air is entering the engine. So when they lift that saw up, it comes up and it comes very close to their shirt or their jersey, right? And what'll happen is it's sucking so much air in so ferociously, it can actually suck your shirt in.
Oh.
And what that'll do is it'll stall that saw completely. And I've seen it happen many times to people, and so they'll wear that back brace on there just as a way to hold their, so you see Nate Hodges, same thing. It's keeping that jersey in tight. Also, it just looks cool.
Yeah, of course.
Kind of going for the Batman thing, you know, most people wear it under the shirt. Not this guy, man. Underwear over the pants, back brace over the shirt. So Nate Hodges is
still with the chance to win this.
He's bringing the most powerful saw that we have seen on this stage in quite a while. I believe 430 cc's. This saw built by Dennis Cahoon. Most of them 330. Not this big
he's
dog.
the only man that can control that beast with those arms of his, huh?
Well, we saw this year at the U.S. Championship. We saw Jason Lentz, I believe Matt Slingerland. I believe there was 3 or 4 of them all cut under 5 seconds. Under 5 seconds. Wow. And Nate Hodges was, I believe, the last one to come up and hammered down a 4.7 to take home his first U.S. championship. So he has the ability to you know, put himself in that hot seat in a position to take home this world championship still after a few events not going his way. And I know USA's Adam Lethko, our current world record holder, is going to be watching this heat extremely closely.
Yeah, 4.79 personal best. That's a solid time for him, given that the world record is 4.62.
Crunch time.
This saw is an absolute beast. Nate's told me when he runs it, it'll basically take whatever you can throw at it. As hard as you can push down, as hard as you can pull, that saw will handle it. It's basically like trying to ride lightning.
And it's loud as a
saw. Oh, as a motor, absolutely. But just a beautifully designed saw. You can even see when it's warming up, like the amount of power that thing is generating and very little vibration. You know, the amount of time that Nate and Dennis Cahoon and others have put into this saw for Nate Hodges to be up here on stage, everything has been balanced, machined, hours have been put into the chain. The amount of hours that Nate has put into training, all leading to this moment.
30 seconds warning!
Interesting use of the exhaust as well as a stand.
Absolutely. You'll see a lot of them do it because the closer you can get that to your hands, the faster you can be to the wood. You know, you've got these components to it. Your start, how quick can you get to the wood? Your transition from down to up. And then after that, it's just grip it and rip it and ride it all the way home here. Nate Hodges.
What's that?
In case he needs to sharpen his nails.
Athlete, ready!
It's his lucky
Stand
file.
to your timber.
A good rasp.
3, 2, 1, go!
Start into the wood, good. Going for it.
Oh, that's a nice cut, 5.48. Not as fast as time, but a solid cut for him today.
Well, we got to wait for the adjustment on the time, though. That time is unofficial. Judge is going to have a look. It looks clean from our angle, but Judge Andy Hall going to get down there, double check. As we said, they're given, I believe, 15 centimeters to make 3 cookies. They cannot cut over the blue line the judge has put down there.
And if the time is confirmed, he's going to go to the hot seat. Oh, Is it under review?
I don't know. I see a lot of okay.
There's a flag on the play. Oh,
I can see it quite close there. Quite close.
Oh, no. Now I'm wondering what they're reviewing. I mean, it's a video review by the looks of it, so it might be because of the start, or maybe a finger over the line, or not over the line.
In my point of view, a late start, so that I don't think that's an issue. But maybe, like you say, finger over the line.
Yeah.
Encouraging the crowd now, Nate.
Well, at this point, he's done everything he possibly can. Now you just got to sit back. So they might be looking at the hands to make sure it wasn't a jump gun, or to make sure that all of his fingers were across that line.
Look at his thumb on the left hand. Oh,
a thumb is not a finger, Troy.
You're very funny.
But it should be noted, all they have to have is all 8 fingers over the line, but I think that's what they're looking at. But a very quick decision, so that's either a very good or a very bad thing.
All right, let's find out what Andrew Hall has to say here.
So we had to make a video check for a potential full start. However, the cut is good.
Oh boy.
The relief. The relief.
And there it is, our first lead change now. Nate Hodges sitting down comfortably. That is the best and the worst seat in the house, man. Like, your fate is no longer in your hands. You just got to sit there and watch it all unfold. Only thing that seat's missing is a beer fridge. As we see there, beautiful cut. Great start. Putting everything you can into that start. Big deep breath, just a slight pause, line it up, and then just let her eat. 430 cc's of just raw horsepower. Great transition, and right about here, you start to sweat. But to his credit, it was a nice square cut, and he had real estate up top there.
And he just has to go straight down in this one to make sure he doesn't go over the line. But boy, did he ever come close at the bottom of that cut, hey?
Nothing like
that's like on the line, hey.
Man, give that cameraman a raise. Sawdust flying. You can see the look on his face, the adrenaline. You're just hanging on for dear life at this point. Hey, where am I? What happened?
Look at those arms.
That's the face of fight. You're darn right.
All right, so for the moment, Nate Hodges holds on to that hot seat as Jack Jordan will come out on stage for his hot saw cut. So far, so good for everybody. Jack Jordan with 55 points. If he can get second or third fastest cut here today, then he'll move into the top spot. That saw design looks familiar.
Okay. Warm up your saw.
Oh, that's
it looks small in his hands, doesn't it? It looks very small in his hands. He is such a big man.
Second warning.
All right, the tension rises now for Jack Jordan. The 30-second warning is up as he's got to get his final bits of routine. And Nate Hodges, he's trying to look calm on that hot seat, but I don't think he can really hold on to that here as he knows that Jack's got a pretty good saw.
And of course, Jack right now sitting in 4th position, so he's got to at least put a cut in.
Athlete, ready! Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Fast start, fast to the wood. We've seen.
No.
Oh no!
He's got
Let's
a
make sure he
cutaway.
notices though. He has the peace of mind and he's got some real estate.
Oh,
Let's see if he can do it.
7.98 personal best for Jack Jordan. Well done.
With that
to
hiccup.
see that
Well,
cutout.
let's see though. Like, okay, that was. It looks like he's got 3 good discs. Andy's having a look. Let's make sure he hasn't crossed the line here.
But that means Nate Hodges is going to stay in the hot seat.
Okay,
Nate Hodges
congratulations. The cut is good.
Nate Hodges has vacated the hot seat. I don't think he realizes that he's still the man to beat. So Ben Cumberland only needs to have 5th place in order to win this competition.
6 points. That's what we're talking about.
To answer your mathematical question there.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna try and do math. I look like an idiot. Yeah,
There's
I know.
that cutout.
Yeah, unfortunately, just not getting your feet quite lined up where you wanted them. But fortunately, his first 2 cuts were quite thin, so it did leave him enough real estate to go back and take that 4th disc and lay a time down. So that's kept him up on the podium.
And thankfully, he saw that cutout that he made too.
And Ben Cumberland has been faster than Nate, and that's the reason why he only needs 6 points, because then they both will have the 67. And
so basically, Ben Cumberland just needs to have a cut that's around 6.70 seconds, or a little bit faster than 7.84 Jack Jordan.
That's still, you still got to go. That's not
go.
That's not a walk in the park still. But to be honest, that is a good position to be in. It's almost worse when all you have to do is go up and make 3 cuts to take home a title, because the whole time you've trained to go for speed, right? So all of a sudden now, if you just got to go up and make 3 cuts, it kind of changes your game plan. You're trying to adapt for that. So it's a good position for him to be in. You know, he's the most calm I've ever seen him.
Yeah.
There's been times in his career where nerves have gotten the better of Ben, but it's his 2nd time here, saying his last little prayer.
Say a little prayer for me.
This is making me even more nervous.
This is what you want, though. This is why you do it. This is all those hours in the barn training. This is all those wood missions. This is all the countless hours, the thousands of dollars. Ben Cumberland has been training all of his 30 years for this one moment. He's been watching the STIHL Timbersports his entire life. These 2 boys, the Cumberland brothers, Ben and his brother Nate, eat, sleep, breathe wood chopping and timber sports. They've been dreaming for this chance his whole life. And, you know, if there is anybody in Canada that's ready for this moment, it's Ben Cumberland. And he's got all of Canada in his corner here. He's got his parents, he's got his brother, his teammates.
His support structure is there. He just needs to have the time of his life, because his personal best is 9 and change. So he's got to have a cut that's 6.69 if he wants to win this world championship here. With Nate Hodges currently at 67 points, Jack Jordan and Ben Cumberland tied for 61 points here, with Ben still the cut. The pressure is on, and
look at Nate.
Yeah.
That's a pretty intense stare he's got going
30-second
on.
warning.
We're all there with you, Ben. Going through his last checks. Got everything he needs. Gonna see him reposition his feet here.
Oh man, I'm nervous.
Yeah, same here, same here.
I am jittering here.
There we go.
This
Feet in
is
place.
one of the closest finals we've had in a long time.
Here it is. This is the last dance.
Ready.
Here we go.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go.
Good start. Disc on the ground. 2 discs on the ground. Lines it up.
Oh, no! I don't think it's going to be enough. I don't think it's going to be enough.
Was it a complete disc?
Incomplete disc. He knows right away what's happened to him. Not what you want to see.
No.
Judge is going to have a look. It does look. He's out of real estate.
He's cut out. He's cut out on that third disc.
But.
Interesting though, because
I'm looking at my scoreboard here, but he's
tied
but
with
a DQ
Nate
is
Hodges,
0 points.
But it's 0 points if he's got a DQ. Let's see what happens here.
Yeah, it's a DQ. It is a DQ, I'm afraid.
Oh, no.
So we have a disqualification for an incomplete cookie.
Oh, no. That is a heartbreaker for Ben Cumberland.
Not how you want it to end, but what that has done brought him back from the dead after an abysmal stock saw cut, cutting out. Nobody thought I had a chance. Nate Hodges, USA's Nate Hodges, I believe, has clawed his way back. So we take a look back here at what happened for Ben. Beautiful start.
Do you think he could have gone back to...
No, that's a thick first cut. A very thin second cut, and then you
he
don't
waited
see
for
it.
He waited a long time,
Well-
and then he had the cutout here at the bottom.
From that angle, it's hard to tell. We might get a front-on view, which will enable us to see kind of the angles that he was cutting with, but you know, he knew right away. Huge first disc, very hard to recover. Oh, and the disc actually tapped. Oh, and he had the room. He had the room, but he didn't have the room up top.
It was just the angle, huh?
Just those little things.
Oh my word, how much drama can you take?
Unbelievable.
The maker or the breaker, the hot saw, it's...
Well, there was a breaker for Ben Cumberland here today.
So close to winning this. There we go, the sick. And he immediately knew, yeah. So let's talk to the champion. Let's talk to Nate Hodge.
You? I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself? For me, it's okay. You are the new world champion for the Steel Timber Sport. Ladies and gentlemen, Nate Hodges. Congratulations, man. How happy you are now.
It's going to be hard to find the words how happy I am. You can't even put it into words. Everybody around me, they know how much work I put in to get here. It's a tough road with the best in the world, so.
Il est super content parce qu'il a travaillé pour être là. Il y a eu du monde autour de lui pour le pousser vers cette victoire. One question about the city of Toulouse. Is the city of Toulouse help you to win tonight?
Oh, absolutely. Look at this crowd. I mean, this is the best crowd I said this last night, but it's the best crowd I've ever been to, ever seen in a timber sports event in my career, in my life. Yeah, absolutely.
Il vient de dire tout simplement, mesdames et messieurs, que sans vous, il n'aurait pas gagné. Et vous êtes vraiment le meilleur public de tous les timber sports, de Steel Timber Sport. Bravo à toutes et à tous. Do you want to say something, I don't know, to your family in the United States of America, family, brothers, sisters, I don't know, to your family or friends?
Yeah, you know, there's a long list there. If I want to thank everybody, we'd have to sit down for a while. But I think my wife up in the crowd right now, she's got my back 100%. My kids, my family at home, everybody, I love you at home. They all have my support. Dennis Cahoon with the hot saws. I've got Greg Brewer with race chains, guys out of the U.S. with race chains that have my back. Rob Spry and JP Mercier with the best crosscut saws in the world. I'm probably leaving people out, and I apologize, but you know, I've got a heck of a pit crew behind me.
Il a beaucoup de personnes à remercier, mesdames et messieurs. Du coup, il remercie sa femme qui est là-haut, tout là-haut dans les tribunes, ses enfants qui sont forcément en train de regarder, de le soutenir, et toutes les personnes qui l'ont poussé, qui l'ont soutenu, qui ont été là pour qu'il soit champion du monde, mesdames et messieurs. Toutes et tous ensemble, un tonnerre d'applaudissements pour Nate Hodges!
Bravo!
So there we have the final ranking of the hot saw. Ferry Svan with the best time of the day. Nate Hodges in second, and Kody Steers with the third fastest time. Tough luck for Ben Cumberland, an incomplete cookie, giving him the DQ. And now we have the final result. It's official. The STIHL Timbersports Individual World Champion 2024 is from the United States and goes by the name of Nate Hodges. Congratulations.
Jack Jordan still showing well, second place. He'll have the silver medal. And I mean, even with the DQ in the hot saw, Ben Cumberland's got himself the bronze medal, so he can be proud about that. And that's going to give him something to work on for next year, because I'm guaranteeing you we're probably going to see Ben Cumberland on that stage again next year. The way he performed this year, it was lights out up until that hot saw. And I think, I don't know, maybe it was nerves. He seemed calm throughout the day. Sterling, I mean, you can allude to this a bit more, but it seemed like he was very tentative at the hot saw, where he wasn't that way with any of the other disciplines.
No, it's a very tough position to be put in when everything comes down to that one event. And there's just so many factors in the hot saw, you know, and it's not like he is a great hot saw operator, but it's not his best event, you know. And this series now, so much of it comes down to that hot saw, and we see it time and time again, that hot saw basically helping decide our final results.
That's why they call it the maker or the breaker.
Yeah.
Yep. And we're ready to go to the winners' ceremony. Off to Juan, back to the stage, ready to crown the champion of the STIHL Timbersports Individual World Championship 2024.
Et à présent, mesdames et messieurs, vous l'avez compris, nous allons passer à la cérémonie de remise des médailles de ce championnat du monde STIHL Timbersport, la compétition individuelle. It's time for the award ceremony for the STIHL Timbersport Individual World Championship 2024. At the third place and winner of the bronze medal, mesdames et messieurs, troisième place et vainqueur de la médaille de bronze. Please give it up for the Canadian guy, Ben Cumberland! The bronze medal will be presented by Aurélien Join, Sales and Marketing Director, STIHL France, Directeur Marketing Vente, STIHL France. Allez, merci encore d'applaudir Ben Cumberland. At the second place and winner of the silver medal, deuxième de ces championnats du monde, mesdames et messieurs, vainqueur de la médaille d'argent, is coming from New Zealand. Please, one more time, make some noise for Czech Jordan. The silver medal will be presented by Ingrid Jägering, Executive Board Member STIHL, membre du directoire finance, groupe STIHL. One more time, give it up for Czech Jordan! And now, at the first place, winner and world champion of the gold medal STIHL Timbersport World Championships 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, he's coming from United States of America. Il vient tout droit des États-Unis d'Amérique. Merci d'applaudir très fort. Nate Hodges! And the gold medal will be presented by Xavier Lucan, French Southwest Branch Director Liber, directeur de l'agence du Sud-Ouest Liber. And now, the trophy will be presented by Alex Anton, General Manager STIHL France, président de STIHL France. Vous pouvez applaudir, mesdames et messieurs, parce qu'il est très lourd, le trophée. It's really heavy. You can make some noise one more time for the trophy of the World Champion 2024. You have to take the trophy in your arms, man. Is it possible? Yes, yes, yes. Nate Hodges! Oh yes, that's it. Ooh. Et à présent, mesdames et messieurs, nous allons bien sûr vous inviter à vous mettre debout afin de respecter l'hymne national du vainqueur de ces championnats du monde. In honor of the winner, we will now hear the national anthem of United States of America. Ladies and gentlemen, all gold medalists and bronze and silver medalists are Fritz!
Well, there you go, our champions on stage, and that is one massive, 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 I say it again, trophy. I don't know how Nate's going to have to transport. He's going to need like a freight ship to get it home and like $8,000 in transport costs.
Yeah, that'll fit under the seat on the plane.
Sure, no problem.
Yeah.
Together with the hot saw, yeah.
You have to buy another seat for that thing. That
he looked tremendously happy.
Thing, eh? That is the face of like relief.
Yeah.
That is all the hours, everything you put into it being worth it.
There you go, pulling the Captain Morgan
Allez,
again.
one more time, mesdames et messieurs, vous pouvez les applaudir très fort. Les 3 premières places de ces championnats du monde 2024. Le Canadien Ben Cumberland, le Néo-Zélandais Jack Jordan, l'Américain Nate Hodges.
Slowly start to see the relief on Nathan Hodges'
and what a spectacular season this has been.
What a spectacular season has been. It's absolutely been an amazing season, and you might notice that we're adorned in something different here, yes? Well, it is. What's coming up for STIHL Timbersports?
40 years.
Crazy.
40 years of STIHL Timbersports. The oldest extreme sport in the world, the original extreme sport. There you go, folks, and these are the celebration hats. That's why we're all wearing these. So Yeah, we're looking forward to some big celebrations next season to celebrate the 40th anniversary of Steel Timbersport. It is going to be a big year.
And of course, we want to take a look at the highlights of today, and that's coming up right now. We hope.
I'm on my second blink. Or maybe not.
Man, we look good in these hats,
Yeah,
hey? I wouldn't pan away from us either.
Why should you?
How about Nate Hodges?